Welcome one, welcome all to the Casey and Tyler Show, episode 6. And guys, I know I say it every time, but we have a packed show sheet for you guys today.
It is packed. It is loaded. It is loaded with information. Breaking news brought to you by the Casey and Tyler Show.
We had some stuff that we had to add to the show sheet after we already had it done, actually, just some local stuff that popped up. So we're going to get into that. We got a new segment alert for you guys that we're going to get into. And obviously, we'll do our college football week 3 recap and our NFL week 2 recap. Let's do it. Anything you want to say?
Let's fucking do this.
You look snazzy today.
Roback shirt. Roback sponsor us.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. Okay, Casey, before we start the show, episode 6, let's get into our weekend recap. How was your weekend, my friend?
Oh, my weekend was phenomenal. Started out Saturday working a golf outing. Worked my best golf outing of the year. It was amazing. I had a ton of fun, raised a lot of money for the Dearborn Fire Department.
Oh, awesome. Claps to that. Good for you, Case. Good job.
Clap for myself, myself.
Thanks for the Dearborn Fire Department. Shout out to your service.
And then watched some college football Saturday. Watched the Lions win on Sunday, and it's just been it was a good weekend. It was a good weekend. How was yours?
Good. I had a relatively relaxed weekend, loaded with college football on Saturday. I didn't move from the couch, I think, for like 6 hours. It was great. And then Sunday came over here. We watched the Lions. That was great to see them pull off a victory.
One pride. One pride. I didn't think that was going to be that aggressive.
Yeah, one pride. Go Lions. It was a relatively tamed weekend. I didn't go out. I didn't do much. I just kind of relaxed at home. Watched a couple good movies. It was fun. It was good. Exactly what I needed. Let's do our week look ahead. What you got going on this week? Bowling Wednesday, right?
Yeah, Bowling Wednesday. I'm looking forward to that. I had a good week last week bowling, so I had a decent week last week. We'll say that. I was above average, two out of my 3 games. So I mean, I got 200.
Sucks.
I got 200 both 2 games. So I mean,
solid.
You wouldn't get over 100.
That's just not true.
Other than that, I mean, I'm looking forward to this week. It's just gonna be a nice, hopefully easy work week. And all that. Looking forward to Thursday's episode.
Yeah, Thursday's episode's going to be great.
Yeah, Friday's episode, technically.
This week, I'm going to be editing all week because that's what I do for this show. Hoping
I run all social, so.
Yeah, that's fine. No, I know. You do plenty. I'm just saying.
The people know that.
No, you do plenty.
But I just don't sit here on my ass and just give hot takes.
Right. No, you do plenty. Week look at I'll be honest. I know we're recording now Monday, the 19th. I was really looking forward to today, not only because we were going to record our recap this show, but we got 2 Monday Night Football games tonight, and that's always fun to have a game on when we're recording, and then when we're done, we're going to have still another game to watch.
Right, yeah, it's not just we just miss an entire game. We watch the ending of the third and watch the fourth quarter, or just watch the fourth quarter because we were recording the entire
that's what
time.
happened when we recorded our Monday when the Rams were playing. It's like when we got done recording, the game was already over.
Yeah, Was it Monday?
Rams Bills. Remember
Thursday.
We were like, was that a Thursday night?
Thursday
okay, so the first Thursday night game.
The game was over. I was like, oh yeah, we got like the whole quarter to watch, and it was like, nope, there's 5 minutes left in the game.
Well, not even that. It was kind of like a blowout, so it wasn't even compelling. So yeah, no, honestly, I know it's only Monday, but this was something I was already looking forward to, is having 2 Monday night games. And obviously we're gonna have another packed show for them, for our viewers, our listeners come Thursday. So Thursday, Friday. So I'm looking forward to that. I got some lunch plans with family this week, which will always be good. To get taken out to lunch and get to see my aunts and whatnot. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think Izzy might have a grooming appointment coming up. I'm not sure if it's this week or next week. So, she's not fat. She just needs to go to the groomer. That's all I got to say about that. All right, let's move on to our first topic today. This is especially Especially, I don't know what the word is.
Sad news, we'll say.
I wouldn't say sad. I would say
Unfortunate news.
Unfortunate, but I was going to say it has a large impact locally because this is a local kid from our high school, although we graduated before him, but he's from our area. Former high school standout, national standout, Emoni Bates was arrested Sunday evening, early Monday morning. Yeah, he was pulled over in Superior Township after failing to stop at an intersection on Sunday night, and police, after a search of the vehicle, found a weapon, a firearm.
Yeah, and supposedly the weapon has some altering IDs, or alternate ID markings.
That's
on
fancy
the gun.
speak for they filed off the serial number.
Yeah, that's a technical term for it.
Yeah. So before we get into kind of the details of this, just to kind of set the story, Emoni was the number one recruit in his class coming out of high school. By all accounts, going to be a future NBA star, or at least that's what he was projected.
They were comparing him to KD.
Yep.
And then he reclassified just when you go to college a year early.
Yep. So he led Lincoln High School in Ypsilanti, Michigan, to their first ever high school basketball state title as a freshman. The next year looked promising. They were supposed to be even better the next year, and then that was COVID.
Yep.
So the season got cut short, and then after that, he ended up leaving Lincoln because they wouldn't let him reclassify. So he went to Ypsi Prep, a school that I think his dad kind of started, and then from there went on to Memphis after decommitting from Michigan State. I have some opinions on this. I'd say first and foremost, he's a kid. I want nothing for the best for him. Put Ypsi on the map. But I will say this, since he's only been trending downwards lately, and I want him to prove us all wrong, but this is just not a great look heading into the season.
Oh no, yeah, especially now. Like you're 3 months until the season?
Yeah. I'm assuming. I mean, this hasn't been reported, but just the way these things typically go, my guess is he's probably suspended pending investigation going forward. He hasn't been, from my knowledge, he hasn't been involved in any sort of trouble to this point. That should definitely help him out as far as like the legal proceedings go. But I guess according to his attorney, he was driving a borrowed car that had the gun in it. That doesn't typically matter in the eyes of the law. You're responsible for your vehicle and what you're driving and what's in it. There's like a famous marijuana case back in the day where a guy was offered like $1,000 to drive a car over the border, and he didn't ask and said, "Okay, I'll do it." When he got pulled over with all this marijuana, he was like, "Well, I didn't know it was in here." And they're like, "Yeah, but you going out of your way not to know doesn't mean that you didn't know." You know what I mean? Turn off your ringer. So just some other things. He was the top recruit in his class. Like you said, he decided to reclassify and go to college early. Then he commit to MSU, and then he decommitted.
Yeah, he was committed to MSU, then decommitted to MSU, and then committed to Memphis, played there a year, averaged 9.7 points a game, shooting pretty much 39% from the field.
Yeah.
Left after 1 year, and there was like a rumor when he left that like Penny Hardaway told him to get the fuck out of Memphis, pretty much.
Yeah, it sounded like he wasn't a great teammate. I heard that. I read that one of the last crumbling pieces of his time in Memphis happened when some recruits came, and he basically told him like, "You don't want to play here," and that got back to Hardaway. And I'm pretty sure after that he was like, "Yeah, there's not a spot for you on this team," which is sad to see, man. I like I said, I want him to do well. I really do. Yeah, so then he transfers back home to Ypsilanti to play for hometown Eastern Michigan.
That's he was the first 5-star recruit from the MAC.
Yeah, ever in basketball. Yeah. That's huge. And then, so he gets arrested before the season starts. Hoping for the best, but in all fairness, like I said, it's not trending in the right direction. Hope he proves us all wrong. To be honest with you guys, this story just came out probably around noon today, I think, is when.
Yeah. Well, he was arrested technically last night.
Right. So not a lot of details surfacing yet. So
this will definitely be a story that we will follow as soon as we know news.
We'll keep you guys apprised for sure.
We'll definitely let you guys know and all that.
I know I'm speaking for both of us. We planned on going to some Eastern games to watch him this year. I mean, that's for those that are local. You guys know this. he was so big at Lincoln that they couldn't play home games at Lincoln anymore. They were starting to play all their home games at Eastern because the crowds were too big.
Yeah.
The gym just couldn't fill it, or the gym couldn't handle it. So we'll see what happens going forward. Like I said, we'll keep you guys in the loop with that, hoping for the best for the kid. Like I said, I mean, he's young. Young kids make mistakes. Let's just, hopefully he can get surrounded with the right people and, put Eastern on the map. I'd love to see Eastern make an NCAA tournament run with Emoni. That'd be lit. That'd be fun. We
just make a tournament with him.
Yeah, and then it give us more stuff to talk about. You know what I mean? Moving on to some other local breaking news. This happened about 5 p.m. today. Time of recordings 8 p.m. So this was a last-minute add to the show sheet. Casey, the Detroit Tigers have found their guy.
Never heard of him. No idea. I mean, yeah.
So the Detroit Tigers have hired Scott Harris as president of baseball operations. Harris comes from the San Francisco Giants, where he was the GM there for the last 3 years. He's only like 36 years old. He might be 35. I saw on every article I read, one said he was 34, one said he was 35, and then two said he was 36.
We'll say 36-ish.
I like that. Yeah.
We'll say 36-ish. My mic was off. 36-ish.
By all accounts, Harris has been long seen as a rising star in front office circles. Like I said, he spent the last 3 seasons with the Giants, working alongside their president of baseball ops, Ferran Zaidi. He helped the Giants. Build a Giants team, that won 107 games in 2021. And this is what really should get Tigers fans excited. Before joining the Giants as general manager, he spent 7 years with the Chicago Cubs, helping. And in his time there, he went all the way from kind of a low-level guy to ascending all the way to assistant general manager, and he was instrumental and played a huge role in building that 2016 team that made the run all the way to win the World Series. So if you're a Tigers fan, there's a lot to be excited about with this guy. Just some other things that I read about Harris. He's kind of seen as a jack of all trade. He's really into analytics. By all accounts, he's really fluent in scouting. And one of the things the Tigers lack the most over the years is player development, and apparently he has a good track record with that. You know what they say, jack of all trades, ace of none. We'll see. I mean, I'm assuming he's still going to bring in some other guys around him to build that front office. It sounds like the interim GM, Sam Menzen, and assistant GM, Jay Serratori, are both going to remain with the Tigers, probably in assistant roles there, which is good. Just because they're longtime guys with Illich, so I'm sure that'll kind of ease the transition for Harris going forward. We'll see, man. Last season, the Tigers spent $230 million in the offseason, and I think they expected to compete for the division or a wild card spot, and they have not done so.
I mean, I'm just going to say this. I mean, this guy's anything is better than Al Avila.
Yeah.
I'll take a cheeseburger over Al Avila at GM.
You would think that it's hard to get worse. I mean, the Tigers are 55-91 at the time of this recording. It's the 4th worst record in baseball, and that's hard. It's just hard to imagine after how well they did the season before and how much money they invested in the offseason. And so this, according to Chris McCoskey from the Detroit News, again, this should make Tigers fans happy. A.J. Hinch apparently has known for a couple of weeks that this is where Chris Illich was leaning towards going. And they said, like I said, Chris McCoskey said, there was definitely a spring in manager A.J. Hinch's step here on Monday. So I guess he was pretty fired up about the hiring. It is unclear whether or not Harris is going to hire a general manager or if he'll just assume both the roles of president of baseball operations and general manager. And like I said, it is expected that assistant GM Sam Menzen and Jay Serratori will remain with the club. So, I mean, like you said, it's hard to get worse than Al Avila.
Yeah, it's really hard to get worse. I mean, I can go in there and do what Al did.
Right. Yeah.
Like, come on now.
Do you think this is going to start a full on rebuild again for the Tigers, or do you think he'll build off of kind of the pieces they already have?
I mean, they've been a rebuild since what?
15, it's 10 years.
15, 17.
It's been a long time.
Whenever people are saying, I mean, people get whenever it was. It's been 2014.
I think they made it to the World Series.
So, I mean, I think it's just the same rebuild. This team is horrible. Your team, yeah.
I was just saying because they do have some pieces there with like Tariq Skubal and some like young talent, Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson. So we'll have to see if
those guys haven't really performed.
Well, and that's the thing, is that a player development issue, or are they just not the guys? So that, I guess, going forward, it will be interesting to see if he's ready to, like, no, we're starting from scratch, or are we going to, like, oh, there are some things here that we can build upon.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see. It should be a fun offseason for Tigers fans.
I mean, we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. Yeah. Well, time will tell.
It's going to be hard to be worse than they were this year. Let's just put it that way.
That's the thing. I mean, it's just... You can't be any worse. So I mean, you can only go up from here. So we'll see how much of an improvement they make next year. I like the manager they have. I love Hinch at manager, but it's also I'm a Red Sox fan.
Yeah.
So I mean, I
care about the Tigers.
I care about the Tigers, but it's also shit like this. I could care less. I could care less about this hire.
Wow.
You're talking about the Red Sox? Yeah, I'm gonna be interested in it. I mean, I'm not gonna do any research on this guy.
Well, I did.
I mean, good for you.
Oh, thanks, man. Someone's got to do the hard work.
Whoa, are you serious?
I'm kidding.
I was gonna say.
But I will say,
I put the sheet together, bitch.
This wasn't on the sheet.
I put 70% of the.
There we go.
Together.
Okay, fair enough. The last thing I'll say about this, since Casey's ready to move on, apparently.
I'm not ready to. No, say whatever you want. I'm just saying it's hard to like give my opinion when it's like. I mean, the news came out so not too long ago. I mean, I didn't really look into this dude. I don't know him.
I think you were leaving work and you're like, "Hey, the Tigers got a guy," and I was like, "Oh shit!"
Heard on the radio that like, "Hey, Tigers found their gut." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, it's also, and to be fair, he's young. Like we said, I didn't hear about him before this. It's not like you and I follow closely, like executives around the league.
Baseball's a sport I don't really follow like that. Like, yeah, I mean, I loved watching the Red Sox, but it's like when you start getting into like the GM and that type of stuff, and like this manager I don't really. No dudes' names like that.
Yeah. I will say that under Avila, the Tigers were seen as one of the least progressive teams in baseball. And even like after hiring AJ Hinch and pitching coach Chris Fetter, I know that like a lot of fans and baseball pundits around the league were like, "Oh, they're buying all into analytical approach and all that stuff," and it just never really seemed to mesh. So hopefully, if you're a Tigers fan, he can come in and I've never been a fan of like what the Rays do. The Rays take the analytic approach, I think, a little too far. But like there is a place to blend it, right? Where you can use analytics, but also just common baseball sense. And I think there's a fair balance there.
Kind of like the Astros almost.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like exactly like where it's like, hey, we rely on analytics, but I can also trust my gut to an extent. Right. So it'll be interesting going forward. I'm sure. I'm sure like Chris Castellani's probably fired up right now. Our boy from Barstool. I'm sure he's excited. And I would say this, even as like a Tigers fan, because we live in the area, it's been a long time coming that Avila needed to go.
Yeah, no, it's one of those things that like I'm not rooting for the Tigers. I'm rooting for them because
unless they play the Red Sox.
Yeah, unless they play the Red Sox, can see ya. Well, it's one of those things that like I want to see a team in Detroit good. I want it if all four teams can be good at one time.
That's electric.
Would be amazing for the city. I would love for that to happen. Tiger games are a lot of fun when the Tigers are good, but it's one of those things. You can't. You can only go up from here. Avila sucked.
Yep, I agree. Well, that's all I got for that. We'll keep an eye on it going forward. I'm sure there won't be anything to say about him for he's going to have 2 to 4 years until people are critical.
Right. So moving on.
I can't believe this is on the show sheet.
So, how horny is Doc Rivers? So, last night I'm just on surfacing. I'm on Twitter and I saw a tweet that said how Doc Rivers' last couple of tweets that were all pornographic sites or likes. Went to his Twitter and it was the last 5 tweets were all liked by. They're all porn videos.
Were they raunchy? Was it
pretty raunchy? Though they were pretty raunchy. There was only one picture, then there are 4 videos. They're all off of his Twitter now, obviously, because he probably forgot to log on to his burner and all that. But I just found that hilarious, and we had to add it in the
That's
show.
like a bad, it's one of those things where it's like, do you think he's scrolling and like not meaning to like he's got to know.
He just forgot to log into his backup account where he has all this
his
shit.
burner.
And he was just going through, and he was like, because that stuff doesn't randomly show up on your timeline unless you have searched it before, or unless it comes up, because I have never seen any of those type of videos on my timeline because I don't like that type of stuff.
You utilize other sites for that type of stuff.
Yes.
So I have a story that's kind of funny about this, and I'm not going to name drop anybody because I don't want to do that. But when I was in high school, there was an individual that worked at the high school, prominent, high up, that had a Twitter account that everyone knew because he promoted things for the high school. And we're in yearbook, and somehow, some way, someone goes to his account and goes to his like tweets, and it is like all porn. I mean, not just a few. I mean, like all of it was porn. And you know how high school kids are. They find it hilarious. Little do they know, like, this guy might lose his job.
Right.
So, I like, I've had my indiscretions in the past of being really immature. I mean, we all have. I was like, from everything I know, he's a decent human being, like maybe just messed up, doesn't realize. Twitter was really new back then. He could have had no idea that people could see these likes. And some of that stuff, like, to each their own, right? We all have our things. And I went to the yearbook teacher. I was like, hey, you need to go down to this guy's office right now. Because, like, this is, like, the class is over in 25 minutes. If you don't handle this before class is over, the entire school is going to know about this. Because, like, we had people in our class, you know who I'm talking about, that I don't need to name.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
It would definitely have ran with this. So it happens to the best of us, I guess. I don't know how this can happen, but it makes me want, like, yeah, you know who I'm talking. So, yeah, I mean, do you think he was hacked, or do you think this was him?
He said he was hacked. No, this was him.
That's the oldest thing in the book. I was hacked.
No. You're just horny.
Yep. You go to horny jail. You're in horny jail. Yeah.
They make porn sites for that, man. Just go on Google Chrome, delete your history, so your wife
incognito, right?
Incognito, so it's not in your history thing at all. Don't have to delete your history. Just go in incognito mode.
Casey seems like he's a pro at this.
No, it's just I forgot. So no.
Moving on.
Moving the fuck on.
All right, dude. This was hilarious. So the video's gonna be up. I'm gonna pull it up. Like, all right, it's gonna be on screen so you guys can see this. But Bryson versus the rope. Bryson.
Oh my god! What the fuck, guys? Oh my god! You okay? No. I can't see him. All right. Wait. Shit! Oh, right in my eye. I can't even see right now. Take a second. Rope caught him in the eye. Oh, man, split my eye, bro.
That was hilarious.
Dude, that was so funny. He's a pussy.
I can't believe that. He's like, no, I'm not okay. Then when he got mad with his hat, it was like, ugh.
Oh, dude, that was so funny. Like, the rope attacked him. Like, he should press charges against that rope.
I agree.
That rope should be in jail right now. That rope, uncalled for, going at one of the best live golfers out there. Are you serious right now? Completely arrest that.
Yeah,
rope.
I mean, come on, Greg Norman. That's like your prized possession, getting Bryson, the former U.S. Open champion, and you're going to let him get treated by a rope like this? What are we doing?
No, you have to fight. That's crap. That is crap.
So for those who don't know, this was this happened in Live Golf's final tournament this year in Chicago. And I mean, dude, it's unreal. Bryson's a big dude, and I've never seen someone of his stature
I've never seen a grown man do that.
What are we? Also,
He looked like LeBron out there. Literally, he looked like LeBron traveling into the paint, getting fucking touched, and then next thing you know,
unnecessary LeBron slander.
Flies into the first row because he's a flopper like Bryson. He must be watching. He must be a Lakers fan.
I blame Bryson for like 90% of it. What are you doing? You have eye. Pay attention.
Know your surroundings.
Well, you think that someone's just supposed to lift the rope over your head?
Yeah, like someone's supposed to notice that you're gonna hit the rope and be like, "Oh, Bryson."
Oh man! Also, it's not like Kevin Kisner walking through the rope. You're a big dude. You know what I mean? But yeah, the way he reacted, I mean, you would have thought he literally got shot in the eye by a BB gun.
No, you would act like someone punched him in the eye. Look at that.
Dude, I just got stripped.
I stripped the fuck out of
hurt my wrist a little bit. You gotta be careful, dude. But yeah, so that Bryson stuff was hilarious. I just wanted to bring it up because I know you're not the biggest Bryson fan. I like Bryson,
Bryson's a bitch.
But that shit was so funny. He's like, no, well, guys. That video was so. Casey, shout out to Casey because there's a lot. Focus up, dude. I'm gonna take that from you. Shout out to Casey because he found the video that you guys just watched because there were some other ones, but that one that we found was easily the best.
It's like right behind him.
Yeah,
and you watch him freak out and go. Shit!
He's so pissed. Pissed.
Fucking pussy.
Oh, it's time, Casey.
Dude, we have a new segment alert. So, me and Tyler were talking. We're like, hey, we have to spice up Tuesday episodes. We have to bring in something that is just.
We needed some pizzazz.
Yes. So what we thought of was like, hey, let's do a top 5.
Because we can do top 5 anything.
Top 5 anything. Top 5 dog breeds. Top 5
whiskeys.
Top 5 whiskeys. Top 5 this. Top 5 that. Top 5 this.
Top 5 that. Top 5. Oh, sorry. I thought we were gonna keep going. Top 5 this. Top 5 that.
This week, we thought
this was appropriate. We thought this was appropriate.
A good one.
Yeah.
Top 5 college football traditions. So how we're gonna pick the order is we're gonna do rock paper scissors. That whoever wins gets to choose who goes first.
Wait, what's our top 5 this week?
College football traditions.
I didn't know that. I thought I did something completely different.
No, you didn't. So we're gonna do rock paper scissors to see who fucking goes first. Rock paper scissors. One. Not best 2 out of 3. 1.
And it's rock paper scissors shoot.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Oh, I'm not ready yet. I gotta think about this. All right.
I'm reading. I already know what you're picking.
I'm going first. Ready? Rock paper scissors shoot.
Fuck. I'm going one.
All right. Let's get into the segment.
Okay, so this is our top 5 college football traditions.
Yeah, best college football tradition. So, Casey, I guess because it's just us two, we'll just alternate picks.
I'll go. No, I'll go. You go. I go. So.
Oh, you want to just go every other? Because we don't need to do snake draft for this one.
We'll do a snake draft.
So I get 2.
I feel. You get 2, then I get 2. So I go 1, you go 2, I go 2.
I go 1.
No, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Shambles. All right. So you go first. What's yours?
Easy 1-1. The Kinnick wave.
Fuck.
The Kinnick wave. At the end of the first quarter, Iowa fans turn towards the Children's Hospital and wave at the children in the hospital. I think that is one of the best college football traditions. I love the Kinnick wave. We have to go to an Iowa game.
Yeah, so
I really want to be a part of that one.
Yeah, so what's really cool about this one is it hits you right in the heartstrings, right? It's not like your typical rah-rah college football tradition. And although it only started in 2017, it's already one of the best traditions in college football.
Everyone loves it.
And it's like both sides do it. So Iowa could be in like a crazy rivalry game, maybe even sending them to the Big Ten, but they still, both fans participate in it. And I think that's awesome, man. We wave to the kids, the kids and their family.
I love it. I think that is an easy 1-1. What is your 1-1?
So 1-2? My first pick, God, this is going to be really hard. I'm going with the Iowa State script, Ohio.
The Iowa State?
So, yeah, Ohio State, sorry.
That's a good one.
So, Ohio, sorry, I said Iowa State, didn't I? We were just talking.
Iowa State,
Ohio State script, Iowa. This started in 1936. Their marching band is electric. It's one of the best in the country, to be honest. So every home game, they do the script, Ohio. And it's kind of equivalent to retiring a jersey because the person that gets the I in the band thing is like iconic. Jack Nicklaus has done it. Former coach Woody Hayes has done it. Astronaut John Glenn's done it. I hate Ohio State, but that is when I think of football there, it's like them doing that, and I think that's a really cool college football tradition.
That's a really good tradition. I feel like even though I'm not an Ohio State fan, that is a really, really good tradition. Now you go again.
I know, man. This is tough. I
have a feeling my pick's going to fall to me. I have a feeling it is going to fall to me, and I have a feeling these were easily 1-1 and 1-2s, and I have a feeling it's going to fall to me.
All right, I'm going to do Army-Navy game.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So the Army-Navy game in and of itself is a tradition.
No, I agree because the best that was the net pick I was hoping was going to fall to me. The best thing I like about that is the winning team sings second.
Yeah, so it's been nationally televised since 1945, 117 meetings between these teams since 1890. Presidents typically stop what they're doing so they can attend this game, which is awesome. The ceremony begins with a march on. Cadets and midshipmen march onto the field in their blue and gray, and then, as you said, at the end, the teams get together and sing each other's alma mater. I just think that's an awesome tradition. Because it's bigger than a game. It's way bigger than a game.
And these guys are rivals for 4 hours, and the next thing you know,
they're here to defend us.
They're on the same team trying to defend us. I love the Army-Navy game.
I think, and it's typically the last game of the year.
Yeah.
So like it's after.
It's after the
conference championship.
It's the week after the conference champions. You have a couple of games, like maybe
it's small games though.
Well, it's like the North Dakota States.
Right. So I have to go with that as my second pick. I just think I get as jacked up for that game as anybody. I mean, I love it. I know
another thing, and I'm gonna give this to you just because you can technically say this is different, but betting Army-Navy unders, that is a tradition of its own.
Okay.
Just saying.
That's fair.
Just saying. But those are two great picks.
Right.
My next pick, Vatek, enter Sandman.
That's easy.
Start out every game. Vatek players are walking out on the field, playing, enter Sandman. I think like the most iconic moment is the first year fans were back. Vatek, North Carolina.
Dude, I got chills.
I got chills. I still get chills listening to that, watching that video.
So
that is a great video.
So you know how it started? So in 2000, they debuted a brand new scoreboard, and they're like, what should we do to like unveil this? And they're like, enter Sandman, and it just stuck ever since.
It's amazing.
I was watching a video when we were doing this, and the players literally walk from the team facility around the practice field and into like a very narrow and cramped tunnel, and I saw like a drone fly over of them walking, and then as soon as they start to get in the tunnel, it like starts to play, and then they just, dude, it's crazy.
It's insane. It is insane.
Okay, so you get another pick here.
Then my next pick, I will say Wisconsin, jump around.
You basic bitch.
So they started.
You fucking basic bitch.
I think it's at the beginning of every third quarter at Camp Randall. They play jump around. It started in 1998 against the Drew Brees-led Purdue Boilermakers.
Yeah.
People say that the stadium shakes sometimes when they do this.
And you know why it stuck? Is because when the first time they did it, Wisconsin went on to go 11-1 that year, and they were like, "Oh, we'll keep that."
Yep.
So you're at
I'm at
3.
Yep.
So I'll be at 4 after this.
No, you're gonna be at. Yep, you're gonna be at 4 after this.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to go with. This is gonna be tough, man. I got some good ones on here.
So do I.
All right, I'm gonna go for my first pick here. Auburn's rolling Toomer's corner. So even an Alabama fan trying to poison the tree didn't ruin this tradition. It started way back in the day. So basically what it is after every Auburn win, they like throw stuffs on the tree. Like, you know what I'm talking about? So the reason I picked this one is just because of the history behind it. Basically, it started back in the day when a local store had the only telegraph in town. And after they got word during the away games that Auburn had won, they would throw ticket tape from the telegraph onto the power lines to let everyone in the town know they won. And over time, rolling the trees just became a tradition to celebrate wins. it's a pretty cool celebration because anyone can participate. You didn't have to be at the game. You can be a local fan. And in 2015, an Alabama fan poisoned the tree that all the fans throw the ticket tape or toilet paper onto.
I remember that.
And Auburn said, "You're not going to ruin this." They responded by planting a 35-foot tree and said, "Bring it." So I don't know. That's a really cool one to me. I might have reached there, to be honest.
That was a reach.
I will go with my next pick to be. I'm between two here. I'll go with Florida State's Chief Osceola.
Oh, that's a fucking great one.
So at the start of every Florida State home game, Chief rides the Renegade horse before planting a flaming spear at the heart of midfield. This gets the fucking crowd going. This is as iconic as it becomes as college football traditions. I mean, that's legendary. So I got to go with that one. You like that one?
That's a good one.
Oh.
That's a really good one. That's a really good one. So now my
last two picks.
Clemson's Howard Rock.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. So at the beginning of every game, there's this long hill that goes right down to the field in one of the end zones. There's this rock at the top. Every player touches it, and then they go sprinting down this hill onto the field. That is a great tradition, I feel like, by Clemson. And then my last one. Let's go West Virginia.
Country
Take
Roads.
me home. Country Roads.
That's a good one. So before you talk about the Take Me Home, I just want to say one thing about the Howard Rock that I found funny when I was doing research. So it started in 1966. And from 1970 to 1972, they stopped doing the tradition. They had losing seasons both times. They said, "No, bring it back." They're like, "Bring it back." They're like, "Fuck that, bring it back." And it's crazy because it's just like a massive, large piece of quartz.
Yeah.
And the players just, I guess when the players touch it, the fans just go like bonkers. So the Howard Rock's a good one. I'll give you that.
It's a good one.
And then Country Roads, that's hard to beat.
And Take Me Home, Country Roads' favorite song. So that's my top 5.
Yeah, I like that. I had something written down about this Country Roads one. Something about it that I thought was good. I put what's not iconic about 60,000 plus singing perfect harmony.
Right.
They adopted the anthem since the 1970s, and they do it after every home victory. So I find that to be electric. So I'll pick mine, and then we can run back through it. So I got one more pick.
2 more. Yeah, I have one more. Yeah, you have
one more.
Last one.
Shit.
And then we'll go run through our top 5. Then we'll go over.
We have honorable mentions, right?
I have some great honorable mentions that I thought sliding into my top 5. I love my first honorable mention ones.
All right, I'm gonna go with Colorado Ralphie's run.
Oh, that's a great one. I was about to put that in my top 5.
It's so iconic. Live bison have made an appearance at Colorado's home games since the 1930s. Ralphie the First is the first full-time live bison mascot for Colorado in 1966. I don't know what's more electric than a 2,000-pound live endangered species busting through the tunnel.
Running with just 5 dudes that be like, hey, these 5 grown men are going to stop this bison from, like, if it gets pissed, turn it on you in a second.
Yeah. So I was reading about it, and I guess like they only do it when the bison's like in a good mood. They won't force it out because it's dangerous, obviously. And they said most of the time, I guess it's a she. They're like, or they call it a shit.
Yeah, it's supposedly the she.
So and they're like, so most times she's willing to go. But they said there have been times when she's like, fuck that, and they're like, nope, no problem.
Yeah, you'll stay in there today. I am not trying to die.
Yeah. So I thought that's my top 5. Just because I know Colorado in and of like they're not the most iconic football program, but when I think of Colorado football, it's the fucking bison charging out of the tunnel.
I agree with that. So I'm gonna run through my top 5. My first one is the Kinnick Wave. I think that is the best college football tradition. My second one is Enter Sandman, the Vatech tradition. Third one, Wisconsin Jump Around. The fourth one is Clemson's Howard Rock, and my last one to top off my top 5, West Virginia.
Top five.
Take Me Home, Country Roads.
Yeah, so to finish my top 5 out, I'll be honest, in retrospect, I feel a little weak about my draft.
I won this one, just with the Kinnick Wave.
Yeah,
and the Jump Around.
That's 2 of the best, I'll be honest. You probably got, So I went with Ohio State Band. I went with the Army-Navy game. I went with Florida State and the Spear, Chief Osceola. And then I went with, what am I forgetting? Oh, Ralphie's Run, and that's it, right?
The Auburn one.
Oh, and then Auburn, yeah, them doing the trees after every home game.
I think you messed up with your first pick. I think Ohio State's script was
a reach for my way.
That was definitely a reach at.
I should have taken
Army
jump around.
Navy was easily the top,
the better
pick. I feel like the script Ohio, you could have waited until possibly the fourth one.
Yeah, I think that I just I panicked. It's one of the last ones I did research about, and when I was like, Jack Nicklaus has been in that's kind of cool.
So a couple of my honorable mentions are Mel Tucker beating Michigan. Penn State whiteout.
That's a good one.
That's a really good one. Honestly, what's a couple of years?
Oh, I've got a lot.
I don't want to take any years.
Yeah, so I got the Notre Dame's "Play Like a Champion Today" sign, because I mean they they walk out and they hit that sign. I got "Sweet Home Alabama" by Alabama when they sing that song. Fuck Auburn.
Oh, that's Dixieland Delight.
Wait.
That's Dixieland Delight.
That's what I meant to put down, not Sweet Home Alabama. Dixieland Delight. I don't know why I wrote that down.
So when they touch the banner.
Oh, when they run through?
When they run through at the beginning of every game and touch the Michigan banner. I put that. That's an honorable mention. I think that's a really good tradition. No other team does that, so.
Yeah. No, but I was going to say, when they sing Dixieland Delight, because they put their own little spin on it. I like that one. Michigan one's good. Neck. Hey-oh, suck that tiger dick, bitch. Yeah, I think that they got in trouble for that, but I think they still do it.
Yeah, they still do it.
Are you just going to go through all yours and not let me get a chance to speak?
You got a couple in, and then you started stumbling and mumbling, so that
you cut me out. You let me finish.
I had to take over.
The Oklahoma Sooner.
Yep, that's one. Even though that's fallen a couple times.
Yeah, it's been chaotic a few times. I think it's pretty cool. It's pulled by two white ponies named Boomer and Sooner, which I think is fucking badass. That's a good one.
Are you saying I'm 12th man?
That's one that easily could have been in our top 5.
Oh, easily.
So I told you the story on the way here. It began in 1923, and basically what happened is in 1922, after a stunning 22-14 upset over Centre College, the A&M's team was so riddled with injuries, there was one fan that stood on the sideline prepared to play if needed. His name was E. King Jill. And ever since then, they've been known as the 12th man.
That's insane.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. I'm trying to think. I think I have one more honorable mention.
Yeah, I don't think I have any more.
Oh, I have like the Georgia Tech one, but that one's kind of weak. Georgia Tech always comes out with a Model T as like a salute to their engineering school.
Another good tradition, Ohio State beating Michigan.
That's not. Are you good?
I'm joking.
Mississippi State Cowbells.
Yes, I was about to put that on my sheet. I forgot. Yeah, the Mississippi State Cowbells. That's a good one. That's a really, really good one.
So I guess they banned noisemakers in '74. Then the SEC revoked it in 2010. And the first game after it was revoked, they had to like okay, not during the plays. Like they're like
till after.
Yeah. Because I guess they were like, I guess I was reading an article and they were like, they'll just like have people passing them out. Like everyone in the stadium has a cowbell. That's fucking crazy. I think that's it. I don't got any other ones other than, Michigan State sucking.
Moving on.
Yeah, that's all I got. So yeah, that's my top 5. We'll put them in the description. You guys can comment below.
Yeah,
if you guys have any other ones.
If you guys want to vote on who wins, let me know, because we might, instead of doing the rock, paper, scissors, we might be like whoever won in the most votes last week. Yeah. So comment who you think won the top 5 section, because that is how we're gonna go ahead and see who won. Pick who goes first.
Yeah, and also feel free to comment below if you guys have any top 5s that you want us to do. If you guys have any good ideas. Yeah. Oh, one last one, and we'll move on. Okay. Because I read about this and I didn't know this, and this is why I didn't want to bring it up, but it's really cool. So Tennessee, they call it the Vol Navy. And I guess Neyland Stadium for the Tennessee Volunteers is one of 2 college football stadiums accessible by boat. And in 1962, a former University of Tennessee broadcaster steered his boat into Neyland, resulting in the tradition of approximately 200 boats that float up and down the river and dock outside the stadium on game weeks.
That's insane.
That sounds fucking crazy. I haven't heard about that until I read about it, so I was going to keep it out. But I was like, if you were in Knoxville and that was like, you were like, what are all these? It's like, it's fucking game week, baby. So that's what I got for that. But yeah, it's time to move into our recap segment. Yep. Cool. All right, guys, let's get into our recap segment of this show. We're going to start with college football week 3. Kind of a lot going on. We're going to start with Eastern Michigan at Arizona State. Herm Edwards, no longer the head coach at Arizona State.
Yeah, rumor has it that he got fired right after the game, like on the field. Not fired, but like parted ways.
I mean, fired. Yeah.
Pretty much fired.
Yeah. Should we show the video? You think we'll get in trouble if we show that video? Here's the video. I don't care.
Here's the video.
Yeah, so I think anytime after a loss like that, any loss, if the AD and the president of the school are meeting you before you even walked off the field, it's probably not great.
Right.
I'm ignoring him.
Yeah, you're seeing he's doing that backwards.
He did it. So Casey's dog Tucker is over there, and when he gets kind of annoyed when we do these recordings, and he just sits and faces the wall opposite of us, like he's just pouting.
Yeah, he's doing that because he wants to make us feel bad.
It works.
It works 100%. So if you just don't look at him, you just ignore him, he'll stop. Like he's doing right now. He walked away. So we're good.
We're good. So
Eastern Michigan, Arizona State was 20.5 point favorites. Pretty much 21-point favorites.
Yep.
And they lost 30-21.
Yeah, not a good look. I mean, Herm Edwards had some good things going with that program early on in his tenure there, and it just really hasn't worked out. He lost quarterback Jaden Daniels to LSU as a transfer this year.
They're under an NCAA investigation right now.
Right. You want to talk a little bit about that?
So 2021 is when it was like November 2021. The allegation came out that he had hosted recruits on campus during an NCAA mandated COVID-19 dead period in 2020.
Yeah.
So supposedly they're under investigation for that. So it's probably just all that piled on. Not starting the season off great, being 21-point favorites to Eastern Michigan at home, losing to them, all of it just boiled over, and you just have to part ways with it.
Doesn't it typically feel like, too, whenever you're under investigation for something, if the quote-unquote bad actors are no longer there, the penalty's way less? Like, with Herm Edwards gone, the NCAA is going to be like, well, this new guy, it wasn't his fault. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I feel like the penalties be a little less. When we initially talked about this last week, I think it was, or over the weekend, I was like, it's so whack for getting someone in trouble. Like, I understand you violated something, and you have to uphold the punishment because it's not fair to all the other teams that were abiding by those rules. I can't imagine this will come out and be some, like, really harsh fine. But I do agree with you. I think that, like, I think that it was just kind of a building of things. It wasn't just one thing, but it was like accumulation of things that probably led. I mean, I like Herm Edwards, man. Herm Edwards, a great guy. You play to win the game.
Right.
You play to win the game. I've always been a Herm Edwards guy. You remember him on, like, what was he, with Jets and Chiefs? Was he not with the Chiefs? I thought he was with the Chiefs. Definitely Jets.
I think he was with the Chiefs.
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. But anyway, I was really excited for him to come to Arizona State. I think we talked about this. I love the Sun Devil. That's a badass mascot. It's a good logo.
I just like the colors.
Yeah, it's good colors. Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward. I don't think that they're going to, I mean, obviously they're going to roll with an interim coach, and then, I mean, that they'll end up hiring somebody. I was reading that BYU's coach, your boys, is a candidate for there. Do you think that's a step down?
Or, I mean, Power 5 conference. BYU's not in the Power 5, I think.
Well, I mean, I guess it's you're at least going to like a big I don't know. BYU's just been so successful, and Arizona State hasn't. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's like
right.
So, but So Arizona State parts ways with Herm Edwards. Wish you the best of luck, Herm. Hope you come back to ESPN. You were great on ESPN.
Yes, he was. Yes,
so,
he was. Next game, UConn heading to number 4 Michigan.
Not much to say.
Wins 59-0. I didn't watch the game.
Michigan did what they were supposed to do.
They at least covered. So
yeah, there you go. They did what they're supposed to do. Michigan, everyone knows. It's been widely talked about that they didn't have a very difficult schedule to start the year. We know that. Bitch. Strip! Fumble! Are you going to go pick that up? That's what he gets for stripping me last week, bitch. Now I get all this time to talkie without him being able to say anything. Michigan, yeah, I don't know. Not much to say there. They had a pretty weak out-of-conference schedule, as everyone knows. It's been widely talked about.
You're keeping that in.
Oh, my God. You just love talking ball, man.
Love talking ball.
It's like your microphone.
Love talking ball. Moving on.
The only other thing, I can't believe you just did that. You just tried to talk in the football like it was his microphone. The only thing I was going to say is it's been widely talked about that Michigan didn't have the hardest out-of-conference schedule. Regardless, they did what they were supposed to do against bad teams. They beat the shit out of all of them.
Yeah,
I think
the 3 teams they played were all ranked in the bottom 20 of college football.
Yeah. No disputing that, but they did what they were supposed to do. I think they lead college with the largest scoring differential this year, which they should.
Yeah, they played the 3 teams that were bottom 20 of college football, so they should.
Yeah. So interesting to see what they do going forward. Obviously, they haven't really been tested. I liked Blake Corum, the running back for Michigan. He tied a program record with 5 touchdowns against UConn. He actually came out after the game and was very honest. He was like, we haven't faced any adversity. I don't know how good we are. And I thought that was
that's an honest response.
It's candid, right? And he was like, I think we have what it takes to be very good. He goes, it's just hard to tell.
Yeah, you don't know until your team can face that adversity. You don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, you're showing that, okay, you can kick the shit out of teams. You can take over games against bad teams. You can show that, but it's like, okay, well, what happens when a team punches you in the mouth to start off a game? Can you guys come back?
Are you going to be able to respond?
Yeah.
I agree. So we'll keep an eye on Michigan going forward. I think they open up next week their Big Ten schedule against Maryland.
I think they go Maryland, Iowa, home against Penn State, bye week.
Michigan State. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that. Hopefully, Michigan gives us some more good things to talk about. For me, at least, Casey doesn't really care. But moving on to number 11, Michigan State, going to Washington. Washington beats the Sparties 39-28, and it really wasn't even that close.
Yeah, I was going to say the score makes it seem like it was a lot closer of a game.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Wisconsin kicked the shit out of them.
Yeah, I was listening to the local radio today, and I guess Sparty traveled pretty well. I guess there was a lot of Spartans fans there, but because of how poorly they started and kind of played throughout the game, they were just they had nothing to cheer for the entire game pretty much. Peyton Thorne had some garbage time touchdowns late, but it was really never close. So some questions for you, Case, since you're a Sparty. Despite the outcome of the game, do you prefer when your team schedules games like this versus a cupcake schedule like Michigan? And why so?
You learn about your team early. You know what to expect from your team, especially before they get into conference play. You know what to expect, and what when your team plays. I'm not saying Washington's a hostile environment, but like when your team plays in a tough environment. I mean, you guys go out west. I mean, when you guys play a decent team, and it's a game that your best receiver's out. We'll see how the rest of the guys perform and all that. I mean, I like games like this.
I will say we were both on the right side of this one. State hasn't won in Pac-12 country since 1957. I think we both didn't expect State to win. I expected them to play a lot better. I think that was just regardless if they won or lost, I expected State to compete. And I would say going forward, State's defense is a massive concern. They gave up 397 passing yards through 3 quarters, and they had no sacks. Their defense had no sacks after the MSU pass rush led the country in sacks after their first 2 games. And last year they had the worst passing defense in the country. So it doesn't look like they've done much to improve that. That should be concerning for the Spartans going forward. Mel Tucker, I know, came out today and said he took it really personally. He goes, I think he called himself a piece of shit coach right now, something along those lines. And basically, because I think he's the one that coaches the DBs on that team, and he pretty much came out and said, this is on me. We have to get better because, unfortunately, for State to do what they want to do this year, and whether that's compete for the Big Ten or just make a New Year's Six bowl game, you cannot give up 400 yards passing on the regular.
You can't.
So we'll see. Hopefully they look to improve that, to have a chance to make a run this year. Up next for Michigan State, home against Minnesota. That should be a decent game.
That should be a decent game. I think both teams are probably evenly matched. So
yeah. Did you see that? I texted you this. The coaches poll came out, and the coaches poll still had State ranked higher than Washington.
That's insane.
Yeah.
One thing we forgot to do is our top 10.
Oh, okay.
Did that switch?
We can do it. Let's run through the slate and we'll do it afterwards.
It didn't change at all. Just teams more than top 25 dropped.
Well, we could discuss it after the slate if you want. It's up to you.
Michigan State's out of the top 25.
Yeah. We'll get to our top 10.
We don't need it.
Okay.
I was just curious while we were talking. I was like, I wonder how far Michigan State dropped. I forgot they drop them on Sundays.
Do you expect, because Tucker's proven it as a coach, for them to make like the necessary adjustments going forward?
I think so.
Yeah. Hopefully.
I think so. I don't know how good Minnesota is really. I haven't really watched that much Minnesota football. I think PJ Fleck is not that good of a coach. I mean, he had that one good year at Western.
Yeah, I think he's done decent at Minnesota.
He's all right.
I think Minnesota's too, like, historically not going to be like a powerhouse, so it's kind of hard to, you know what I mean?
Right.
So we'll see. Next game. This was supposed to be the fucking game of the week, and it was kind of a dud.
It was a boring game.
Texas A&M, Miami heading to College Station. A&M wins 17-9.
Yeah, this was a boring game. I was like on and off, falling asleep during it.
It was late.
It was a late game. It honestly wasn't that great of a game.
Yeah, like I said, it was 17-9. A&M benches quarterback Haynes King for Max Johnson, who's an LSU transfer. Everything I read said that, Jimbo Fisher thought that the offense looked a lot more steady with Max Johnson, although he was only 10 for 20 on the night. So we'll see. I would say Miami had a lot of chances to win. I was rooting for Miami personally. They had a lot of drop passes. In fact, they dropped one on 4th and 4 with about 30 seconds left, with it giving them a chance to take the lead. A lot of drops for Miami. That was kind of the theme of the night. And they also couldn't convert in the red zone. I think they settled for they didn't score a TD. All their 9 points were field goals, obviously. That's never going to win you. Field goals do not win you football games. So,
no, not at all. Not at all.
So it'll be interesting to see what we get from both these programs going forward. It's hard to say.
I feel like this was almost a must-win for Texas A&M.
Oh, we told you. I thought if they lose this, especially if it wasn't, the Jimbo's hot seat.
Yep.
For sure. So one of those things. Don't know. Does this mean Miami's really good, and they battled with A&M, who's supposed to be good, or it was just kind of an underwhelming performance from both? It'll be interesting to see going forward rest of the year how these teams do. Moving on, Casey's team, number 12 BYU heading to number 25 Oregon.
Yeah, Oregon wins 41-20. It wasn't even close of a game. I had a feeling this was going to happen. I said it last week. I was like, this is probably a trap game for BYU. Them heading to down to South Florida for their first game, then playing a double overtime game against Baylor at home. Now they were heading to Oregon, which is a top 25 team. I kind of took it with my heart, not playing smartly on this one. I did take BYU money line on this game. They were my dog of the week, and I lost it. I just took it as Oregon stinks, and I took a lot of how Oregon looked their first game against Georgia and put a lot of bias.
You put a lot of stock into that?
Yes. It's just one of those. I shouldn't have done that. I should have known better. This was a trap game for BYU, and that they were going to lose this game.
Yeah, I know we talked about when we discussed this game last week, we talked a little bit about Bo Nix, and you were like, he's horrible. He balled 13 of 18 for 225. He had 2 passing touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns.
That's balling.
Yeah, 5 TDs.
13 of 18.
It's good. What do you mean? What's wrong with that? 13 of 18, 225. That's pretty efficient, man. 5 incompletions.
I just don't say that's a good game. I don't say that's balling. Balling is more of like 20 for 24, 350 plus.
So that's one less incompletion than what he had.
But you're saying I'm balling 222 yards. That's not balling.
5 touchdowns, 3 rushing touchdowns. I don't know. I thought he played well. Played well enough to win. Stat going forward.
Not balling.
I think he balled out.
Not balling.
Well, played well enough to beat your BYU Cougars. Stat going forward. Oregon has now won 21 straight at home. 3rd longest streak in the nation. Maybe something to keep in mind for future games at Oregon.
Fuck Bo Nix. Fuck Oregon.
You're just pissed. You're just pissed.
I am. I'm taking it out on you guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Take that back.
We're just trying to discuss the game here, you know.
Take that back.
Also, I really want to give a shout out to BYU for being classy. So, in the offseason, Oregon lost a tight end, Spencer Webb, due to like an accident, and he passed away. He died. And Oregon was really cool when they ran out of the tunnel. They had a Oregon flag that had Webb's number 18 on it.
And that's cool.
I thought that was a pretty
really
cool move by BYU to do that. I will say this should make you feel better. BYU fans like Casey, don't panic. They were very shorthanded due to injuries we talked about last week. Their starting receivers, Puka Nakua was out, Gunnar Romney didn't play, and they had 2 starting defensive linemen, Tyler Batty and I can't pronounce that guy's name. I'm sorry. He also did not play. I'll try. His last name is Tuati Mariner. He didn't play, and they're both started. So they were missing 4 starters, 2 on each side of the ball. That probably affected it a little bit, especially if Oregon was boat racing them early and you don't have your 2 top targets to throw to.
Right.
That
definitely affects the game a lot.
And all I got to say is that entire broadcast, I don't know who was the color guy, but they were all over BYU's quarterback, basically saying that he's going to be another NFL guy. I think what do I have here? His name's Jaron Hall, 305 yards, 2 touchdowns. Maybe that's balling, even in a loss. So we'll keep an eye on Oregon going forward. Maybe they'll be able to bounce back after a Georgia game.
Oregon quarterback, 222.
13.
I can do that. I can do that left-handed.
5 touchdowns.
Number 22, Penn State, heading down to Auburn and beating them 41-12. From what I watched, Penn State dominated the entire game.
And both sides of the ball, man. They were dominant on both the offensive line and defensive line. Penn State's rushing attack led the way. Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen combined for 176 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns, and they're both freshmen. So that's kind of scary for the Big Ten.
That's really scary.
Yeah, they balled out. Sean Clifford added another 178 yards in the air for Penn State. And their Penn State's defense, first 4 turnovers. After the game, James Franklin said that was the story of the game, forcing turnovers and them having 0 themselves. It's hard to win football games when you turn the ball over 4 times.
Right.
So I will say this. We talked about it, about how we both had Penn State in this game because of how poorly Auburn's passing game has been. So I looked this up. Let's see what I have here. One, Tank Bigsby for Auburn, their running back, is going to be an NFL player, and they held him to 39 yards rushing. And he's supposed to be one of the best backs in college football. In college football. Auburn's quarterback play continued to be putrid. TJ Finley, 152 passing yards and a touchdown, or in an interception and a fumble, no touchdowns. He was replaced in the second half by Robbie Ashford, who didn't play any better. This was Auburn's first game against a Big Ten opponent inside their stadium.
This is the first one?
That's what I read. I don't know if it's a new stadium, Jordan Hare Stadium, but I read that this was their first game against a Big Ten opponent inside their stadium, which to me, that is a crazy stat. Also, this is Auburn's 5th straight loss to a Power 5 team. Is their coach on the hot seat?
Oh, 100%.
I mean, Auburn's typically a good football program.
I would say Auburn's either really good or they're just
mediocre.
And I think this is just one of their mediocre years. What will happen is their coach will get fired. They'll bring in a new one. He'll have a year or 2 of maybe winning 10, 11 games, something like that, beating Bama, and then next thing
Eagle, baby.
And then next thing you know, he goes right back, and then he goes 8-4 the next year.
Yeah. So this Penn State's 29-point win is their second largest margin of victory over an SEC team. Good for the Big Ten. Fuck the SEC. always love when a Big Ten team goes to SEC country and wins. I don't care if it's Arkansas. I don't care if it's Missouri. Whenever a Big Ten team goes on to SEC country and gets it done, that's huge. Also, I just want to say this before we move on to the next game. Penn State better watch out, though, because they got CMU next week.
Didn't CMU lose to South Alabama 2 weeks ago?
I'm just saying, they're known to play good teams tight on the road. So Penn State better not overlook CMU and Jim McElwain, the shark fucker. Just saying. Fire up chips.
Penn State wins by 14 or more.
I mean, what do you think the line's going to be?
Let's look at it right now.
Yeah, we're going to do some live looks at the line because I actually am curious about this.
I'm just going to go to this is per ESPN. I don't feel like going to the sports book.
No, that's fine. I mean, it'll be close. It'll be close.
It's going to be almost spot on.
But I don't know. We'll see.
Holy shit! Guess.
It's got 30 plus.
Lower.
Really?
26 even.
Oh, that's probably a decent line.
That's a decent line.
I will say this. At
26 even over under at 60.5.
Well, both good numbers, actually. Just real quick, one more thing about Penn State. Do you think it's Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and everyone else? It's like right now.
No, I would say Michigan, Ohio State, everyone else.
You don't think Penn State's there yet?
No.
Even after like this win?
No,
okay.
I mean, Auburn's not good.
Okay. Well, I thought it was worth asking.
Michigan, Ohio State. I mean, you might be able to throw the second tier. You can throw Penn State in there, and then everyone else.
Okay.
Because Michigan State has to prove it. Wisconsin sucks. Iowa sucks. Every other team sucks.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
Dude, guess the Michigan spread this week. I'm honestly surprised by this.
So they're home against Maryland.
Home against Maryland.
24.
Lower.
17.
Yep, 17 even. I thought it was going to be higher.
Yeah, I'm shocked that it's only that.
I'm surprised by that.
Maryland's played okay this year. They've scored a lot of points.
They scored. What is that? Yeah. Let me go back. What is that over-under?
Yeah, because I know Maryland's
they score a shit.
Look, I remember they had an over-under this year that was over 70.
62.5.
Yeah, we'll see. Maryland's going to be jacked up. Whenever this is the problem when you're Michigan and you play that cupcake schedule and you've been blowing everyone out. It's always a big game when you go into the big house. Maryland's going to be ready to play. Hopefully, I want to see Michigan down 14 at one point and see what they can do. I don't expect it to happen.
First true test is Penn State.
Yeah, that's coming up, right?
They're going to pick the shit out of Maryland. Then I think they go Iowa next, and I think it's home. And they're going to Iowa sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, Iowa's not going to have it. I mean, you saw what happened in the Big Ten championship game, and Michigan, I think, improved. Iowa stinks.
Yeah.
They're not going to be able to throw the ball.
Fuck Iowa. I'm out on Iowa.
Michigan might win by 50 that game.
Hopefully. Yeah, I'm so out on Iowa after I guess it's my fault. I had a crazy take.
No, that's on you. Don't hate Iowa. Don't hate the player, hate the game. That's on you at that point.
Fair enough. This was a great game, man.
Best ending of the week. Troy heading to Appalachian State. This was where college game day was.
It was also an electric college game day.
Yep.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Appalachian State wins 32-28.
And a thriller.
On a game-ending Hail Mary. So Troy is up. It's like fourth down. They're backed up. And take an intentional safety with 20 seconds.
So they kneel in the end zone.
Well, they did, yeah, pretty much. They just run in the back of the end zone. Just so I think it was more of we have to punt no matter what. Instead of punting in our end zone, let's just punt from up there and give them the 2 points because we'll stop them.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure there are some analytics that probably say that's a better idea. Remember when the trouble with the snap game?
Yeah.
It's like whenever you are on your own side of the field punting, weird things happen.
They were inside their 10.
Yeah.
So it was a smart play. So they had a bad punt on the kickoff.
So it backfired
immediately. You give Appalachian State some pretty decent field position. They're roughly around it's probably about a 50 to 60 yard throw for this quarterback. He slings it down the field. Troy bats it down. Appalachian State guy catches it at the 5 or 7 yard line and just runs around everyone and then scores with 0 seconds on the clock for them to win 32-28.
You know what sucks about that too is as a defender, whenever you're defending a Hail Mary like that, you're taught to bat it down.
Yeah, you bat it down and next thing you know you have a dude just standing right there.
Catches it, runs it in. That was crazy. We mentioned College Game Day. Luke Combs was there. I didn't realize he's an alumni of App State.
Neither did I. I didn't know that either.
And Pat McAfee joined College Game Day. He did a great job. Hopefully that brings some juice back to like a rather dying because that was actually one of my college football traditions was College Game Day, and I was like, they've been so bad the last 5 years. I can't put it in.
Last year was horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, what proved it was when they were at the Michigan State game.
Oh, God,
and they showed the Barstool coverage, and then they showed the College Game Day coverage, and it was like a tenth of the people were at the College Game Day coverage versus the Barstool coverage.
Yeah, Barstool went there. Yeah, I remember them doing like a flyover, and there was nobody at College Game Day. Then you tune into, like you said, the bar, and there was 10 times as many fans.
I have some inside information.
Ooh. Dun, dun, dun.
I know where Barstool is going to be the week of Michigan State.
Do you want to break it, or do you want to save it?
I'm saving it. That's my information.
Okay.
You guys want to? I mean, they'll obviously say it, but I know the location now.
Cool. Can you whisper it to me?
I'll let you know. We'll talk after the show.
All right, cool. I didn't know you knew
it's
this.
around the stadium. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, cool.
Right by a State Farm building. So,
wink.
Wink.
Okay.
There you guys go. That's my information.
Any other college games we'll talk about? It was kind of a week.
Oh, yeah, it was just an week. I mean, I feel like the next couple of weeks now that we're starting to get into conference play is going to be a lot more to talk about and all that.
You just have rivalries coming up. Yeah, I agree.
So we'll definitely get into a lot more. We'll have a lot more games to talk about, a lot more on our recaps. Once we get more into what a play.
Oh, my
gosh. What
a
throw. Josh Money Allen to Stefan Money Diggs. Look at that dance.
What is he doing?
I don't know. He's just getting it.
It's not as good as the Waddle.
I love the Waddle.
The Waddle's the best ever.
But we'll definitely have a lot more college games to talk about in the next coming weeks, especially at the later part of the season.
Oh, God. That's when it gets fun, man.
That's when it gets fun just because you have rivalry week.
Because even like if you have two bad teams, if it's a rivalry, it's still worth talking about because wonky things happen in rivalry games.
Yep.
Last thing about the App State game. How long do you think until we see App State get a Power 5 bid? Because I feel like as a program, they now have some big wins. They play everyone close.
It's one of those things that, especially with everything that's going on with college football and teams are moving to the SEC, teams are moving to the Big Ten. I could see some teams from the ACC getting taken away and then them going into the ACC.
That's what I was going to say because I was reading, I think Luke Combs said it during the broadcast. He was like, we went into Penn State, played them close. Went down to Auburn, played them close. Like both those games could have been decided on a play. And then they beat A&M. They beat Michigan in 07.
And they've proved it that in the past couple of years, they were like, okay, well, I mean, they're a 10-win football team, and they're playing in a bowl game in January.
And they'll schedule anybody. Yeah. They don't care. You know what I mean?
I think they're like that Boise State.
Yeah.
Boise State was in the early 2000s, that's what Appalachian State is right now. They're a good team to where you don't want to play them if you're a Power 5 team.
No,
you don't know what's going to happen. They can easily beat you. I'm not saying
it's like a lose-lose.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're going to go toe-to-toe with Alabama. They're not going to go toe-to-toe with Michigan right now, toe-to-toe with Ohio State, those big programs. But a team like Michigan State, a team like Texas A&M, a team like Notre Dame, honestly, they can beat teams like that, just teams that might overlook them. Yeah. Teams that they're a good team, but they're not like – there's a difference between Michigan, Ohio State, and Bama. It's like they're like okay,
and Georgia. You could throw Georgia in there, yeah.
Yeah, Georgia too. Those four teams are tier 1 college football teams, and then you have your tier 2, tier 3 teams, but there's such a gap between tier 1 and tier 2.
I totally agree with that.
Yeah, Michigan teams can get beat, but
it's almost like Alabama, Georgia, tier 1, then like tier 1B, Michigan, Ohio State, because like we saw last year. Michigan, great team, got dog walked by Georgia. It's like it's almost like
right. Let's say that. Let's just go tier 1, Bama, Georgia, close tier 2, Michigan, Ohio State.
It's hard to throw another team in there right now. It's too early to know right now. Like USC, maybe Clemson. It's hard to say this early in the season, but I agree with what you're saying. The fall off, especially lately between Bama, Georgia, and everyone else, has been pretty significant. I noticed that you conveniently left Notre Dame almost blowing it against Cal off this.
I mean, it just wasn't. I mean, if they would have lost, we would have brought it up. Or if it was a lot closer, we would have definitely brought it up. I mean, with it being only
it was scary in the first half, though.
Yeah, it was really scary. I was thinking about bringing it up, but there wasn't really much to talk about that.
No, I agree. It's just funny. Shout out to Morgan Freeman finally getting a dub.
I can smell it.
Morgan.
Yeah, not Morgan Freeman. Marcus Freeman.
Okay.
All right.
Let's get into our NFL Week 2 recap. Fun stat for you.
What's that?
So this is the first time the Giants, the Jets, the Yankees, and the Mets all won on the same day since 2009.
Really?
Yep.
What?
Yep. First time they've all won on the same
So
day since
Giants,
2009.
Jets, Yankees, Mets.
Yep.
Wow, you see how that rhymed too? I like how you put that in there. Wow, first time since 2009. Good. Shout out to New York for that, man. Good for you guys.
Shout out to all the New York teams except for the Yankees.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with
I'm
that.
happy all three of you won.
Yankees could have lost, and I would have been fine not bringing this up.
Oh, 100%. 100%. The only thing I am rooting for about the Yankees is Judge hitting over 62 home runs, which I think will easily hit.
Oh, man, I think he hit 2 more over the weekend.
I think he did.
Yeah, I think he's at like 59 now, I think.
Yep.
So
Yep.
we'll keep an eye on that. Obviously, when he breaks it, we're going to talk about it, and he's a future Red Sox.
Yeah, hopefully he's a Red Sox. I actually got into an argument over the weekend, speaking about Aaron Judge.
Oh, here we go.
An argument over the weekend on Facebook about what's a bigger story? Aaron Judge getting 62 home runs and above, beating the what's his name?
Roger Maris.
Roger Maris, or Albert Pujols getting 700. In my opinion, I think Albert Pujols getting 700 is a bigger story because he is a 42-year-old man still hitting home runs. He
Allegedly.
has 13, 14 home runs since the All-Star break. Ever since the All-Star break is when he started hitting home runs.
Started surge a little bit.
Yeah. And it's one of those things to have in his 22 years career to get 700 home runs, you have to average 35 home runs a year. And you're talking about, okay, what's a bigger story? Aaron Judge getting 62, what people say is the record? No, the record is 73. I get it. The Barry Bonds, the Mark McGwire, the Sammy Sosas, all them
those
are
stains.
Steroid eras.
Yeah, those are tainted.
But it's like, okay, those are records. If the record was, okay, if those are tainted records, MLB should get rid of them. But the MLB doesn't look at it that way. The MLB record is 73. So I could give a crap that he's going to beat the Yankee fans and what baseball fans are the fucking record. The record is 73. If baseball wants to change it, then they would have changed it years ago.
Deep breath.
I mean, I'm good.
I was gonna say,
deep breath for what?
Pujols is at 698, which is so he's 2 away from 700. I agree. I think Pujols' story arguably bigger because I just think that if you told me Aaron Judge was gonna break Roger Maris's record, I'd be like, yeah, okay.
Judge can do this again,
right?
That's my thing. Is Judge is how old? 31 or 20, late 20s?
Yeah, I think he's probably late 20s. Hold on.
But I mean,
I agree.
I feel like this is one of those things. Okay, well, we're at the end of Albert Pujols' career. He's 30. Yeah. He can easily do this again.
Yeah, I agree.
He's going to be on 2 teams, the Yankees or the Red Sox.
Bold prediction. I agree.
He's going to be on either one of those 2 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no question about that. He's going to be on the Yankees or the Red Sox. If he's on any other team, I will be surprised. But my point. Yankee Stadium is an easy place to hit home runs. He pulls balls down left field. That's where a lot of his home runs are. It's 314 to that wall or 318 to that wall. Or he pushes them left center where people say it's actually 362 over in that area.
Yeah, I agree. You showed me his spray chart on Sunday, I think it was, when I was over here. And I mean, they're all down the line. I mean, our high school field when I played at Lincoln was deeper down the line than that. So I don't know. I agree with you. I agree with the sentiment that if you told me that Pujols was going to he's at 19 home runs this year, that he was going to hit 21 home runs and get to 700, I would say no way. And if you, at the beginning of the year, if I had to take a bet, what's more likely to happen, I would have bet Aaron Judge.
I would have bet Aaron Judge 100%.
Yeah, I agree with that. So we'll keep an eye on those going forward. I do again, he breaks Roger Maris's record as he should. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, now let's actually get into our NFL Week 2.
Yep.
So the Thursday night game, the
Banger.
Las Vegas Chargers heading to Arrowhead and playing the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs win a close one, 27-24. We were recording during that game, so I mean, I don't really have much to say.
I have a few things. Well, remember, Justin Herbert played pretty banged up. I think he's got broken rib cartilage, and a lot of people, pundits from around the nation or whatever, were really confused as to why, with him being so evidently hurt, that they kept him in the game with it being this early in the season.
Right? Yeah, like take him out. I mean,
who cares if you lose week 2?
Especially you're playing the Chiefs. Just call. We lost. No matter what, we're most likely going to lose.
Right, and it's like, why risk your season going forward? Imagine if he took another hit and it got worse, and then now he's out 6-8 weeks or something. And now your season's probably chalked. I think their backup's Chase Daniel, which fine, serviceable backup's been in the league forever. But still, I mean, come on. So, I don't know. It seems like these guys play again later in the year. It's going to be electric whenever you have Herbert and Mahomes on the field at the same time. Good game. I don't love the call to keep Herbert in the game there. If you're a Chargers fan, that would tick me off. You know what I mean? So, both these teams expect them to be good. That's the best division in football. Undoubtedly.
Easily.
Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, and Broncos. I know the Broncos will get to it. They're off to a slower start than people wanted, but I still think, with all said and done, that's probably the best division. So whenever these guys get together, it should be worth watching. You're gonna want to sit in on those games for sure. Also, without Tyreek Hill, Chiefs are off to a hot start, man. They haven't missed a beat.
Right? Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that.
Also,
I mean, that just shows how good of a quarterback Mahomes is.
Oh, I mean, it's almost like it freed their offense up a little bit, where he's like, cool, I can go to anybody now. I think people just forgot that Travis Kelce is a dog, and has continued. I mean, he's like ageless, man. I mean, like I think he set the record. He's like 10 straight years with 1,000+ receiving yards. I mean, he's so good. Mahomes, like you said, just him and Andy Reid together, the way their minds work, and they're so creative in offense. But the last thing I got to say about this game is, fuck you, Casey. Are you fucking serious? You know, I'm in a fantasy battle, and this dude tells our buddy Nate to play CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, against me. You didn't have to give him that tidbit, because Edwards-Helaire, I lost before the week even started because of you.
Whoa. A buddy asked me. He texted me and said, Let me go back and read the text.
No, I don't care. You said any chance I get to screw over T-Web in fantasy, I will.
Whoa. How do you know those words were said?
You said, you're playing T-Web. I got you.
He read me the text message. He said, unbiased fantasy opinion, please. Playing T-Web in our Michigan Ganders League. Flex, CHE, or Henderson Jr. Henderson Jr. CEH, sorry, is projected very high, 16+. CEH projected like 12 or so, but popped off last week. He sent me a screenshot of his team, and I said, my gut tells me CEH. I just gave him my advice. And I did say I'll help out because you're playing T-Web.
Exactly. That's what I fucking said. You wanted to screw your podcast partner over any chance you get.
I got fantasy advice. I'm doing my job. People ask me for fantasy advice. I give you my unbiased opinion. No matter who you're playing. You could be playing anyone in the world, and I would give you my unbiased opinion on who you should play. Give me your fantasy advice. I won a league last year, people.
I'm just saying, if this becomes a theme going forward and you're just texting guys that are playing me like, hey, this is what I like, we're going to have serious beef.
You know what's going to happen? I'm going to text Nate and be like, who is T-Web playing in that league? And I will be like, send me their team. I will give them advice.
I hate you so much.
Just because you said that.
I can't believe you, man. You could have been like, hey, I really like this guy instead. And you could have just helped me out a little bit. But instead, I'm getting texts from Nate after the game. Shit, we FaceTimed him after our podcast, and he's like, Webb, you already lost week 1, and thanks to Casey. And I'm like, what do you mean thanks to Casey? He's like, Casey's the one that told me to play him. Flabbergasted. I can't believe he would do that to me.
Don't hate the player, hate the game.
It was a sad day. It was a bad day.
You want to save this next one for last?
Let's talk about the Lions last. Yep.
Okay. So this game, this was a funny story.
Crazy.
New York, the goddamn Jets. Head to Cleveland and play. What is it? Brownie the Elf?
yeah.
Brownie the Elf and the Cleveland Browns. Jets win 31-14. 30.
Joe Flacco became the oldest quarterback in the NFL to win a game. I'm joking.
So the funniest thing was, people, you know how people complain about like, oh, so-and-so shouldn't have went down because my fantasy points this, fantasy points that. Nick Chubb should have went down. Yes, he got you your touchdown in fantasy, but he lost Cleveland the game.
So here's what happened. The Browns were up 24-17 with 2 minutes remaining, 2:02 to be exact. They hand the ball off to Chubb. I think he was on like the 12-yard line, and he scored a touchdown with 1:55 remaining. The point is the Jets had no timeouts.
Yeah, if he would have went down, they could have ran the clock out.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have scored. They would have been able to take the knee, run the clock out, and they win the game. Instead, they score, which like
the extra point too.
Right. So they missed the extra point, and they go up 14 and 13. They go up 13. Should have been up 14, and leaves the door open for the Jets for a miracle comeback. Man, I mean, shout out to Robert Saleh. I kind of like what the Jets got going on over there. We'll have to see. Going forward, tough loss for the Browns. It's one of those things where in your mind, if you're Chubb, you think a score here puts the game away no matter what, right? If I score here, there's no way they're coming back.
That's a dagger right there. But no, Jets drive it down, score touchdown, onside kick, come down, score touchdown, kick the game-winning extra point, win 31-30.
What was cool is the head coach for the Browns after the game, Kevin Stefanski, came out and was like, that's not on Chubb. He goes, if I would have told him to go down, he would have. He goes, it just didn't really dawn on me. You know what I mean?
Like you said, you would think, okay, we're going up 14 now with 1:55 left. Game's over.
Yeah.
That's what you think.
Right.
You're not going to think, okay, well, let's go down because I don't know. And I mean, these type of situations, so you're looking at it, you're like, okay, he should have went down, but like if he didn't go down, then people are like, well, why didn't he score a touchdown? That would have been the dagger right there.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, well, it's this way. That reality happened. He scored a touchdown. That should have been the dagger. Colts.
It's also anti, like, it's not in your brain. You're as a football player, the end zone's there. You're taught to get the ball over the pylon.
I mean, I'm not saying Joe Flacco's a horrible quarterback, but you're talking.
I don't think they expected Flacco.
Joe Flacco's the quarterback.
He's not like Mahomes or Josh Allen.
You're not talking about Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers that's sitting on the other side and we're like, oh, shit. This dude can drive the ball down the field in a minute, score, do an onside kick, get the ball back, and then you're giving them plenty of time to come down and beat us.
Yeah,
you're talking about Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco didn't play. How much did he play last year?
Not a lot. Didn't Wilson end up getting hurt, so he had to come in? I think Wilson ended up. Yeah, I don't know. He didn't play. Obviously, he's a journeyman. He's been around. He's got a Super Bowl. But I agree in the sentiment that I don't think even after the fact, if Stefanski thought he probably should have went down, the game would have been over. We're probably still fine. I think that the bigger thing that the Browns need to reflect on is not he should have went down. It's how do we blow this lead with that little time left. It shouldn't be about, well, he should have went down, we would have won the game. Yeah, or if you would have recovered an onside kick or had a defense to speak of, we wouldn't even be talking about it. So that's interesting. Shout out to Chubb for scoring. That really helped me out in fantasy. Sorry you lost, bud, but thanks for the touchdown.
The next game, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers heading to New Orleans.
This was a dogfight, no pun intended.
Bucks win 21-10, and there was a brawl in the middle of the game. So
20-10.
That's why I said 20-10.
You said 21. Play it back.
I said 22-10.
We'll check the tape. Just
okay.
I thought I didn't say Keaton Carroll, and I did. So
okay.
Regardless, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
But so what happened with the brawl? It looks like Tom Brady was saying, like, Marcus Lattimore did like a gesture towards Tom Brady. Looks like Tom Brady called him a pussy bitch.
Something like that.
Something in those lines.
It wasn't nice what he said.
No. Marcus Lattimore started walking at him. Leonard Fournette was right there.
Shoved
him. Mike Evans is on the sideline. Nowhere comes running up and just hits him. This isn't the first time this has happened between Mike Evans and Lattimore.
It's been like what?
Couple years
9
ago.
years? No, not
5
9.
years.
5 years running.
A couple years ago, Jameis Winston is messing, doing like this to Marcus Lattimore's ear or neck area.
Oh yeah, because that's when Jameis was with the Bucks. Yeah, he was like pointing at him and like messing with him.
And then Marcus Lattimore slaps or does something to him, and then here comes Mike Evans and just annihilates him again.
Yeah.
They hate each other. Mike Evans was the only one that gets suspended from this.
Yep.
I think it was only for one game, or was it a couple?
It's just a game. Yeah. So
But there are other fines. They haven't announced the fines yet. It was just he was the only suspension from the game.
I mean, a couple notes. There was a clip that I saw. So, one, this is confusing me. You know how Bruce Arians is no longer the coach there? He's like a executive, like a football operations guy. He was on the sideline for that game, which, to be honest, it reminded me of like when D'Antonio would come to games when it was Mel Tucker's time to coach. It's like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I understand that he's still involved. Like, I know Arians is still involved, but it's like, to me, it's just kind of distracting. Like, the players are like, well, who do we listen to? Because it's like Arians just won a Super Bowl, but Bowles is the coach. Well, anyway, there was a clip of when all this was going down. Arians, you could catch him on a mic, was like, Mike, get in there. Like, Mike, go get him. And Mike was like, oh, bet. And then came around, and that's when,
so Mike Evans was like, he's Tom Brady. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, that's what he was saying to the ref. Like, the ref was like, dude, it's Tom Brady. What am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? I will say, bad look for Lattimore. I know Evans is a big guy, but you got lifted off the ground, dude. That would be like if I shoved you. That's what it would look like.
Oh, dude, no. We have video of me absolutely destroying you when we used to get drunk and we used to pretend we're D linemen and O linemen.
That was good times. We've grown up a little since then.
I'm breaking it right here. I'm saying it. This is gonna happen. Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be a Tampa Bay Buck.
So it was hard to tell if this happened before the game or after. You thought it happened after. I thought it happened before. But, yeah, he was shown having quite a long conversation with Tom Brady on the sidelines.
They hugged. They were talking for a while.
It wasn't just like, hey, how you doing? I mean, they had a full discussion.
They talked. So, I mean, Odell's like, hey, Evans is out for a game.
Is Odell
Godwin's coming back? Your team's a little banged up.
So do you think
Super Bowl run? Tom Brady, Odell Beckham Jr.
This would be
Julio Jones is out.
This would be quintessential Tom Brady and the Bucs bringing back what people think is a washed up superstar, especially at wide receiver, and then he ends up just. I mean, I know AB's a nut job. He arguably had some of his him and Brady were really good. I think Odell showed last year.
I was going to say, look what he did last year with the Rams.
He has plenty left in the tank, I think. And if he's healthy, I'm not sure how much recovery he still has to do on that ACL. I think he tore it in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So I don't know. ACL recoveries are different. Some people come back in 8 months. Some people take a year. Some people longer. Some people shorter. I wouldn't be surprised. I agree with you if we see Odell in a Buck. It's going to be like Buck. It'll be a Super Bowl contender. He's not going to go play for the Panthers. You know what I mean? It's going to be a Bills. Because I heard, Von Miller was already like, hey, man, it's pretty cool over here because they played together with the Rams last year. So we'll see. If Brady gets Odell and Odell's healthy, watch out.
Well, that team will win. That team will win.
Evans, Godwin, Odell, Julio Jones, Russell Gage. I mean, I know Gronk's not – God, playoff Lenny. We'll have to see what happens. I thought that was a great thing you added to the show sheet, though, because I saw that, too. I thought it was before the game. It definitely could have been after the game.
Whatever it was, he talked to him at the game. So,
dude, they were having a full-on conversation. It wasn't just like, hey, hope you're doing well. We'll see. I like that you're calling that out. So if you could place a wager right now, you'd place a wager on him going to the Bucs.
I'll go on the Bucs.
Okay. I like it. Moving on. Panthers-Giants, kind of a nothing game. Panthers going to Giants. Giants win 19-16.
Yeah, Giants 2-0, leading the division. They might win the NFC East.
You're back on the Giants bandwagon. Story of this game, Panthers 2 for 12 on third down attempts. Baker only 14 of 29 for 145 and a TD. Didn't turn the ball over, but wasn't really spectacular either. Kind of a sloppy game all around. It really came down to Danny Dimes, I think with like 4 minutes left, scampered in for a touchdown or threw a touchdown. That kind of sealed it. The Panthers did a good job holding Saquon. Saquon didn't go off like he did week 1.
Right, yeah.
So they did a good job with that. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to win in the NFL. They squeeze out a 19-16 victory. Panthers, listen, I was high on the Panthers at the beginning of the year, and I'm not off them yet. I think whenever you have a new quarterback entering a new team, it can take some time to get that offense rolling. So we'll have to see going forward if they can make the necessary adjustments. I mean, they have weapons there. I mean, DJ Moore's good. C-Mac's good. Robbie Anderson's good.
I was going to say Robbie Anderson.
They have weapons there. So
Baker Mayfield.
And again, I'm not out on Baker. Yeah, he didn't have the best game. I think that division will open up for the Panthers, and I think they have plenty of time to turn things around there. So still pulling for Baker to make a playoff run this year, and we'll see what happens going forward. Again, like you said, Giants win 2-0. Coach Dable off to a great start again. I don't know if you saw the clip.
I'm surprised by this start by the Giants.
Yeah, me too. I thought this was going to be like a Dable comes in, he changes a lot of things. The Giants suck. They get Danny Dimes out. Bryce Young comes in, or another quarterback,
or whatever quarterback
whoever, right? And but off to 2-0 start, he seems to have his finger on the pulse of that team really good. This is the second week in a row, obviously, that they've won, and they party in that locker room every time they win. It looks electric, man.
It looks fun. It looks like a ton of fun.
It looks like
a ton of fun in New York.
Yeah, so that's good to see. Glad to see Saquon healthy again and C-Mac. So hopefully they can continue to do well for fantasy teams alike.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, just saying. A lot of guys took those guys even after they've been injured, and it's like, oh, well, if they're healthy.
We'll see what happens with them.
So,
the New England Patriots heading to Pittsburgh and playing the Steelers. This wasn't that great of a game. Pats win 17-14. I saw a stat. I wish I would have known this before we kind of made our picks last week. I mean, I don't remember who I said was going to win. I think I said the Steelers were good.
We both picked Steelers. Yeah, we were surprised the Pats were favored.
When was the last time the Pats started like 0-2?
Like 20 years. It's over 20 years. Yeah. They haven't started 0-2 in over 20 years.
Yeah, so it's like if I would have known that stat, I probably would have went with the Pats just because. I mean, Bill Belichick does not start 0-2.
Right. It was just kind of a standard win for the Patriots. They don't care about style points or making it look pretty. They just care about winning by any means necessary. I know it was 17-14, but for the most part, this was the Patriots game the entire way. Mac Jones looked better. He looked healthy. Steelers shot themselves in the foot a lot of times. They gave up a long TD pass right before halftime. Mac Jones to Nelson Aguilar. And then the Steelers also muffed a punt that resulted in a Damian Harris touchdown. So just one long play and a bad special teams play. That's 2 touchdowns right there. That was kind of the story of the game. This is the Pats beat the Steelers for the 13th time in 17 meetings under Belichick. Seems like, that rivalry was good when, Big Ben was there and Brady, and just hasn't really been the same. Belichick's kind of had the Steelers' number. And this was Robert Kraft's 500th career game. It's kind of cool for them to celebrate it with a win like they've done so many times in the last 20 years. Steelers offense continues to struggle. Mitch Trubisky only had 168 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and I guess what I read was the Steelers were chanting for Kenny Pickett.
I was going to say, yeah, when is that Kenny Pickett? When are they going to start giving Kenny Pickett a shot on there? Is it going to be when they're out of playoff contention? Is that when you start throwing them in?
No, I don't think you can wait that long. I mean, honestly, I think it's Deontay Johnson's one of their wide receivers. I think that's his name.
Yeah.
He came out and pretty much said, without saying it, that this team needs a spark. And he's like, I don't know where we get it from. And to me, that kind of alludes like, well, maybe it's time to let the kid play.
Let's change quarterback and see if he can help this team out. Yeah, he's doing that backwards shit again. He's like, he was looking at us hard, and now he's
just sitting facing the wall, man.
Yeah, because he's upset.
We're almost done, Tuck.
Yeah, we have another 15 minutes, maybe 20.
So we'll see. We'll have to keep an eye on that going forward. When does Kenny Pickett get in? I'd say if they lose their next game, Pickett probably plays.
Oh, probably.
If they start 0-3, what's the worst thing that happen? You know what I mean? At that point, bring him in. I think it's one of those things, man. You know what you're going to get with Mitch Trubisky. You don't know what you're going to get with Kenny Pickett. So we'll have to wait and see. Keep on that going forward. Steelers 1-1. Pats 1-1. Pats rebound after a glaring loss to the Dolphins.
The next game, the Indianapolis Colts head down to Jacksonville and play the Jaguars. I don't even think the Colts actually headed down there. I think they stayed in Indianapolis. Jacksonville won 24-zip. One quick question about this.
Don't even say it.
I'm bringing out this word, and I don't know if I want to bring it out quite yet this week, too.
Here we go.
Are the Colts frauds?
No. We said this last week. Frank Reich moves to 0-5 against Jacksonville. They seem to just have his number. I said this about the Panthers and Baker. I'll say it with the Colts. New quarterback. They were banged up. They didn't have Alec Pierce or Pittman in that game. They didn't have a lot of weapons on offense. You can only hand the ball to Jonathan Taylor so many times, especially when you get down early. I don't know, man. Jags defense was all over the place. They had 5 sacks, 3 interceptions. I'm not out on the Colts yet, especially not in that division. But I will say they better start winning some games soon because you can't start 0-4, 0-5 and expect to just rattle off 10 wins. Right. So I'm not out yet, but they got to turn it around quick.
Let's say this. I'm not calling them frauds yet, but the fraud question mark is on that team. They are the first team on fraud alert. I'm going to say the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, because first team on the Casey and Tyler show. Fraud alert.
I agree because I think Colts are a team we both expected to be pretty good this year.
I expect them to win a division, and who knows if that's going to happen now.
Yeah. So some other notes from this game: Christian Kirk, the wide receiver, the Jags handed him a bag this offseason. He continues to ball out. He earned a massive payday this offseason, as we said. 6 targets, 6 catches, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. I know the yards we'd like to see a little bit more there, but knowing that Trevor Lawrence may have found his red zone threat in Christian Kirk. So that's something to keep an eye on, young tandem there. Colts offensive line, which we thought was going to be one of the best in the league this year, allowed 10 pressures. Not good. Matt Ryan's not a mobile quarterback. I mean, he's got to have time in the pocket if the Colts expect to do anything going forward.
Looks like T-Law had a decent game.
Yeah, he did. Trevor Pretty Boy / Sunshine Lawrence, 25 of 30, 235, 2 touchdowns. That's as efficient as you're going to get. Again, I think they're not asking him to do too much there, and he's kind of playing well within that system. I think we thought that Doug Peterson was going to be really good for Trevor Lawrence's development, and clearly that's shown. I think that the Jags moved to 2-0, or are they 1-1?
They were 1-1, I think.
Yeah, you're right because You're right because I saw that after the game, the players presented Peterson with the game ball in the locker room. They celebrated. Another story from this game, despite all the pressures and all the, Jacksonville's defense, like I said, what would I say, 5 sacks, 3 interceptions. It's going to be hard to win whenever a defense does that to you. The Colts were 2 of 10 on 3rd down, 0-2 on 4th down, and 0-2 in the red zone. 0 for 2 in the red zone.
Better.
So
better.
You're never going to win a game with those stats. So we'll keep an eye on the Colts going forward. I don't expect the Jags to be great, but good for Doug Peterson. Getting his first win with the Jaguars.
You see if I'm plugged in.
Are you dying?
Yeah. Moving on. This next game was a banger of a game. The Miami Dolphins head up to Baltimore. Good, thank you.
Yep,
play the Baltimore Ravens. No worries. The Dolphins win 42-38.
Dude, this game was crazy.
Let's just say one thing. The Dolphins were down 21 going into the 4th quarter. People thought that 78-yard run by Lamar Jackson that he scored was almost a dagger.
It's like a sealed deal almost, right?
Next thing you know, here comes Miami winning 42-38. Tua balled out. Not the greatest percentage, 36 of 50.
Well, whenever you throw the football that many times, your percentage is going to go down. 36 of 50 is pretty
36
solid.
36 of 50, 469 yards, 6 TDs, 2 interceptions. I mean, Tyreek Hill and Jeremy Waddle. Both balled out, both with 11 catches. Tyreek Hill with 190 yards, 2 TDs. Waddle with 171 yards, 2 TDs. I mean, Lamar Jackson balled out too.
Yeah. 21 of 29, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Did a number on the ground too. I think he had over 100 yards rushing. Yeah. And again, a lot of it was off that one long scamper, but still. Before we get into what I see on the sheet here, which
we'll talk about that after the game, just because it's definitely news to bring up. But
I was gonna say, do you think Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle are emerging as one of the better wide receiver duos that we have in the league?
Yes.
I agree with that. Are you surprised with how the Dolphins have started the year? I am too. it seems like Mike McDaniel might be another one of the Shanahan coaches from that tree that's going to be very, very good.
There's a bunch of good fantasy numbers from this week.
Oh, my gosh. This game was fantasy heaven. Oh, my goodness. I agree. Tua, I love seeing him prove the haters wrong. Gotta work on those INTs, but anytime you throw 6 touchdowns, I just did it. It was a 72% completion percentage. I think anytime you're over 70% in the NFL, that's solid. I just did it. I know it doesn't seem like it, but that's what it is. I just did it.
No fucking shot.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so 72%, that's pretty solid. This was, like you said, just a great game. Shout out to Tua, shout out to Tyreek Hill, and shout out to Jalen. Waddle. Did you see when he caught that one touchdown, the lineman came up and did it with him? That was so electric, amazing. Dude. I love that shit. Rashad Bateman, your boy, balled out, 4 receptions, 108 yards, 1 touchdown. Former Minnesota Gopher, was hurt all of last year. So glad to see that, Lamar's got a guy there.
Right. He has someone after losing Brown.
Yeah, well, let's say historically when Lamar's been there, they haven't had like a solid wide receiver one. They've had kind of like a collection of guys. So Bateman seems to be solid. Mark Andrews, again, proving why he's one of the best tight ends in the league. 9 receptions, 104 yards and a touchdown. Like you said, this was fantasy heaven. Fantasy heaven.
But let's get into a rumor that came out. I think was it over the weekend that this rumor came out?
It was like right before the weekend started, I think. Yeah.
So rumor has it that there's 3 teams on Lamar Jackson's wish list.
Yep.
The Philadelphia Eagles.
Correct.
The Miami Dolphins.
Correct.
The Detroit Lions.
Yep.
2 of them have, I would say, a
they already,
quarterback.
Yeah, I don't think the Eagles are going to pay to get Lamar because they already have Jalen, and Tua
is proving himself right now.
Tua just beat Lamar, so why would they?
So there's one more team on that list, and they don't have a quarterback, the Detroit Lions. I would love for Lamar Jackson to be on the Lions. It would be adding him to that O-line, adding him to that running game would be amazing. You would be able to open up that passing game for him. I know he's not the greatest passing quarterback.
So many run pass options though, where he could, have the idea to hand it off to Swift. If that's not there, he can do an RPO or scamper by himself. I agree, man. That would be great. I love to see. I think it says a lot, and we'll get into this when we talk about the Lions culture. Back in historically growing up, no player of Lamar Jackson's caliber would have ever said that he was interested in coming to Detroit, ever. If I'm the Lions, you finish this year out, I think that any logical person would say Jackson's a massive upgrade over Jared Goff. You put Jackson in that offense with, like you said, a great offensive line, arguably top 5 running back in the league, and DeAndre Swift, and then you add DJ Chark, TJ Hawkinson, Jamison Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Sun God. That's a top 5 offense in football.
Easily.
I mean, they would boat race. Even if your defense isn't good, good luck. We're going to get to 60.
Yeah.
So, I would love to see that. If they're going to give a quarterback a bag, I'd like it knowing that Lamar wanted to come here. You know what I mean?
Right.
What are you laughing about?
This is where we're at time-wise and how much we have left.
We have a lot left.
Shit ton left. Let's go.
Okay, cool. We'll keep an eye on that. Fingers crossed for Lamar, right?
Fingers crossed for Lamar. Lamar, come to Detroit. We want you. We want you here in Detroit, please.
Yep. Moving on, Falcons at Rams. Rams win 31-27. This game wasn't as close as the score indicated. Pretty much Jalen Ramsey saved the game. Falcons tried to rally late, and Ramsey picked off Mariota's pass intended for Bryan Edwards in the end zone, and the Rams hold on 31-27. The Rams essentially led the entire game, but ironically, they almost blew a 28-3 third-quarter lead against the Falcons,
funny.
Have a weird thing with 28-3 after blowing in the Super Bowl to no one other than Tom Brady and the Patriots. Would have been pretty ironic if they also came back from that margin. Stafford healthy, 272, 3 touchdowns, 27-36.
See,
I don't buy it.
I wasn't able to watch this game. From what I kind of watched the first game is there is definitely an issue with Stafford. There was a rumor that came out before the season started that Stafford has an apparent elbow injury.
One injury that's found more commonly in MLB players too, which is odd.
Yep. So who knows how how that's affecting him. I mean, as a Lion, I'm not wishing an injury on anyone, but how the Rams do also helps the Lions draft
Yeah,
pick.
because we have their pick
this year. So, I mean, I'm the type of person where, okay, well, Matt Stafford, go get healthy, go get the surgery, take the rest of the year
Oh, shit,
off.
Malik Willis is in the game.
Dude, they're getting their ass whooped.
So do you think they bring him in just as, like, to get experience?
It's 42-7.
Oh, I can't. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
41-7.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, sorry to interrupt you there.
No, you're good, but yeah, I mean, there's an issue with Stafford's elbow right now. I mean, I was here from what I was hearing during the week is the first game was he was struggling. He was putting everything he could into these throws.
Yeah,
I don't know how he looked yesterday. I wasn't able to look up highlights and all that, but
obviously the stats look good, but we don't know how many of those were dumping dinks. We'll keep an eye on the Rams going forward. A couple other notes from this game. Cooper Kupp is so good.
Oh, Cooper Kupp is amazing.
11 receptions, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, I usually, and this is a bias of mine I have to get better at, whenever a receiver has like a career year, one of the best years, I just expect them to fall off because you think that teams are going to scheme for that person going forward. And obviously that's not the case. Kupp's obviously really good.
I mean, in this situation, it's kind of hard because of how they have so many weapons over there. They have him. They have Allen Robinson.
Yeah. I mean, fuck. I mean, and just in that offense, McVay likes to get a lot of different guys involved. I will say this. Falcons, I still think are better than what people think because the Rams scored 21 points after the Falcons shot themselves in the foot. So after the Falcons missed a field goal, Rams go down and get a touchdown. Falcons have a turnover on downs near midfield. Rams go down and get a touchdown. Mariota's first interception of the game resulted in 7 for the.
So it's pretty much the Rams just took advantage every chance.
Which good teams do.
Yeah,
so I don't want to knock them for that, but it's almost like the Falcons kind of gave the game away a little.
Easily gave it.
So after the game, Arthur Smith, the Falcons head coach, did clap back at reporters regarding Kyle Pitts. I guess there's been some question about how he's been utilized in the offense so far this year. I mean, he's a dynamic weapon, one of those Gronk-type tight ends that's kind of like a hybrid, more of a wide receiver than a tight end. And he just hasn't had a lot of production, hasn't seen a lot of targets. And so a reporter asked him, and Arthur Smith, the head coach, basically said, "We're not here to worry about fantasy football, but we're here to win games." I thought that was a rather tough quote after a loss. Because maybe if you had him more involved, you wouldn't have lost by 4 points. So it's just a little weird quote to me.
I don't.
I agree. You're not there to worry about fantasy football, and you are there to win games. But sometimes getting your most dynamic playmakers involved, whether that results in fantasy football points or not, will also result in wins. You know what I mean?
No, I know what you mean.
I thought that was a little odd. Drake London, rookie wide receiver for the Falcons, looks like the truth. He had 8 catches for 86 yards in his first touchdown. One last note from this game regarding Drake London. Do you think this is going to be one of the best rookie receiver classes of all time?
I think so.
Drake London, Garrett Wilson balling, Dotson for the Commanders balling. Obviously, we haven't seen Jameis yet because he's been hurt. Olave hasn't done a lot, but it just seems like there's been a lot of rookie wide receivers making some headway.
This year or last year.
Yeah, well, it's hard after last year with Chase,
Jefferson, St. Brown.
Yeah,
I mean that class is just.
It's a little different.
Yeah,
I think these two classes are going to go down. I mean, this whole influx of young wide receivers.
Jefferson last year, or was he
it might have been the year before that. Yeah, I think he was 2020.
But still, just even Chase and St. Brown alone.
Yeah, I agree. And there was other guys that obviously we're not thinking of. But I just, after reading how well Drake London, there was so many receivers taking in the first round this year, second round. I could see this new influx of young receivers all look great and electric. So we'll keep an eye on that going forward. Seahawks at 49ers. 49ers win handedly, 27-7, but some bigger news coming from this game, Case.
Yeah, Trey Lance broke his right ankle on the second drive of the game. Sad news for 49er fans. Sad news for Trey Lance. That is a season-ending injury.
Feel bad for the kid, man.
Feel bad for him. I mean, if you think about it, he hasn't played that much football in 3 years.
Right.
2020, when COVID hit, that he didn't really play much that year. Okay, last year he didn't play that much. And then this year he actually got the start. He was starting, played 2 games, and then next thing you know, he gets injured the second drive of the drive of the season or drive of the game. Jimmy G, it's Jimmy G's time. Jimmy G is going to
So he was a rookie last year, Lance was. Yeah. So, and you were saying he didn't play a lot in college.
Didn't play a lot.
I see, sorry.
That was the year COVID hit.
Yeah, no,
so
you're right. My bad.
He didn't play that much, and then comes out, he's a rookie, didn't play that much his rookie year.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, now in your third season, or your second season, third year of really not touching the football that much.
Yeah.
Really not getting hit. So who knows how he's going to come back from this injury, but Jimmy G gets a starting job for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I feel bad for Trey Lance, man. They handed him the keys this year. Try to move on from Jimmy G. Obviously, it looks like a brilliant move now to bring Jimmy G back. Feel bad for Trey Lance. There's no other way to say it. But I will say this. Jimmy G threw a touchdown on his first full drive after replacing Lance. And San Fran looked like they didn't miss a beat, and they looked very comfortable with Jimmy G in the game. The 49ers fullback, Kyle Juszczyk. I can't ask you. So their fullback basically said it felt like Niners football, and he basically said we've been doing this thing for 5 years. So it sounds like the locker room has plenty of confidence in Jimmy G moving forward, as they should. He's led them to numerous NFC title games and a Super Bowl. So we'll see. Maybe this is a good thing for the 49ers. Maybe they're going to end up being better off this way. I would, like you said, never wish an injury on anyone. I wanted to see what Trey Lance brought to the table. By all accounts, he's like Cam Newton-esque type of talent. So hopefully he comes back healthy. Good for the 49ers. Good for my Super Bowl prediction. I have the 49ers making it and winning it. And I did say that they would do it with Jimmy G at the helm. I did not expect it to be because of injury. I thought Trey Lance would just play his way out of the job. So we'll see what happens. Again, Geno Smith played well in this game. 24 of 30, 198 yards, an interception. We asked if we thought water would find its level with Geno Smith last week.
And it hasn't yet, but it
hasn't
will.
Yet. So.
It will. This next game was a pretty boring game. Cincinnati Bengals heading down to Jerry World playing the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys win 2017. Cooper Rush looked brilliant. But before we start getting into this game, let me bring out that F word again. Fraud alert is on the Bengals team right now. They are the second team on fraud watch. Are the Bengals a fraud?
Hard to say that with Joey B being at the helm. I do have a stat for you, though. The Bengals are the first defending AFC champion to start 0-2 since 1999. The last time it was Denver after winning back-to-back Super Bowls, and then Elway retired, and they started 0-4 that year. I don't know, man. I will say it's hard, again. It's week 2 to put them on fraud alert. I think they have too much talent on both sides of the ball there to get there yet. But it's the same thing we said with the Colts. You cannot start in the NFL 0-2, 0-3, 0-4 and expect to make the playoffs. It's too hard. The NFL's too difficult. The Bengals invested heavily in the offensive line in the offseason, but they look just as bad as they did last year. What I have here. Cowboys sacked Burrow 6 times in the first 3 quarters, and he was sacked 7 times in the opener against the Steelers. In the offseason, they invested 4 years, $35 million in Alex Kappa, left guard. Jonah Williams, 4 years, $17 million, and Lael Collins, 3 years, $21 million. So they invested a lot of money in that offensive line, and you can't tell. And even Lael Collins, when he came to Cincy, told Joe Burrow not to worry because his new bodyguard was in town. Well, dude, step it up, because it doesn't look like, Burrow. We watched that game, and he was getting so much pressure, and it's hard to put that on Burrow, man. When you don't have time to get your playmakers, Higgins, Chase, and Boyd the ball, what do you expect,
Right.
So we'll have to see. We'll have to see going forward. Cooper Rush is elite. Fire up chips. The Cowboys have a 2-0 record when he starts, plus he has game-winning drives on his final possession both times. He finished 19-31 for 235 and a touchdown. Good bounce-back win for the Cowboys.
That's a great bounce-back win for the Cowboys. They needed it. Especially with Dak being out, great win for the Cowboys. Let's hope that – I'm not a Cowboys fan, but just for Cooper Rush's sake, let's hope.
Yeah,
let's hope he can do it.
If he plays well during this stretch, he could end up being one of those long-time backup quarterbacks in the league. You mentioned Bengals on fraud alert. Do you have them on fraud alert yet?
They're on fraud. They're on fraud. They're on that watch. Fraud. They're at the Colts. I'll throw them with the Colts. They're on fraud. They're on. So
you're concerned?
I'm concerned about them.
I'm concerned about them. Yeah, that's fair. Like I said, I mean, we talked just ourselves having a couple beers. Like, it's hard when you shock the world like the Bengals did last year. No one thought they were going to make it to the Super Bowl. Then to do that, it can be hard to get things going again, especially you're not under the radar anymore. Everyone knows who you guys and what you're about. Zach Taylor and that Bengals team got to get some things figured out. So, yeah. Okay, guys, we're going to try to, unfortunately, get through these last ones halfway quick just because it's already a long show and we don't want to run out of space on our SD card. So excuse us if we go a little quick. I'll run through these. Just give us your thoughts. Texans at Broncos. Broncos win 16-9. Is Russell Wilson washed?
I think Russell Wilson is probably a wash, dude. He went 14 of 39, 219 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. I mean, this is another team. Are the Broncos on fraud alert? I mean,
yes.
Let's just say this. Let's put all three teams in the fraud alert category. Broncos, Colts, Bengals, all in fraud alert.
Yes. Oh, Wilson was 14 of 31, like you said. He started 6 of 20. This is another one of those things where it's like new quarterback, rookie head coach. I just think it's going to take some time for the Broncos to figure things out. I'm not as worried about Wilson as I am about their coach. He's done some bonehead things in 2 games, Nathaniel Hackett. The way he ran out the clock at the end of the game just to kick a field goal against Seattle. This game, there was some weird stuff that happened in the red zone. And again, penalties continue to kill the Broncos. 13 penalties for 100 yards, 25 penalties on the year, and that's the most ever in back-to-back games for the Broncos. They have to get that figured out. And in order for the Broncos to become legit, they have to fix the red zone problems. They were 0-4 in the red zone against Seattle, and then in this game, Wilson had 3 incompletions from the Texans' 2-yard line, and they were within the 5-yard line twice in the first half, and both resulted in field goals.
Right.
Field goals don't win you games in the NFL.
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, let's just say this. Let's take them out of the fraud category just because they did win the game, so it's kind of hard to say you're a fraud when you win.
They have to play better. You're not going to
play a lot better.
Yeah.
So we'll say only the Colts and the Bengals are the 2 teams that are in fraud.
Broncos are there though, man.
Broncos
they got to prove it.
We'll say Russell Wilson's probably a fraud. We'll say Russell Wilson's that fraud category. He sucks. I picked him in fantasy and he hasn't done shit all year. Screw you, Russell Wilson. Next game. This game was a banger of a game. I enjoyed watching the end of this.
This was fun to watch.
Arizona Cardinals playing the Las Vegas Raiders. Cardinals win 29-24 in OT off of a fumble recovery.
Yeah, that was crazy. So Cardinals were down 20-0 at halftime, and they trailed 23-7 with less than 9 minutes left and still pulled it out. Kyler Murray only had 53 yards passing in the first half and then just lit it up in the second half. So this is what, like you said, a fumble recovery taken back to win. It was a scoop and score, and he barely scored. Did you see that?
Yeah.
When he crossed, they had to do a review.
Yeah.
How the hell does that keep happening with players?
It's like you would think that players would like learn and understand. Like, hey, let's just before I drop the ball, let me just make sure I'm over the line and I'll throw the ball back.
Goodness, man, that's just too close.
It's like at least twice a year it happens, or at least once a season it happens.
Yeah. So with 2 minutes to play, Murray was spectacular. 2 touchdowns along with 2 2-point conversions with less than 9 minutes to play. Like I said, plus he scrambled for a 3-yard touchdown as time ran out, then forced OT after hitting an ageless AJ Green for the 2-point conversion. The other thing I wanted to bring up, on one of those needed 2-point conversions, Murray made a video game play. I'm sure you guys have seen it. Basically, he was running all over the field, holding the ball for roughly 20 seconds. During that time, he ran for 84.9 yards, according to Next Gen Stats, and then he ran it in for the 2-point conversion.
That's insane. No. I was watching it. It literally looked like you were playing with Michael Vick back in Madden 04.
Yeah, just running around, and they couldn't get you. Then he eventually scores. Is it too early to worry about the Raiders? They held the ball for less than 10 minutes in the second half. Carr 252 passing yards, but only 42 passing yards after halftime. Are they on fraud alert?
No.
I'm not worried about them. It's a tough loss. 2 tough teams to start the year. Chargers,
you didn't
Raiders.
really expect the Raiders. You're the only one that expected the Raiders to do really good. I expected them to be decent, but I'm not talking about playoff team.
I thought they'd make the playoffs for sure. After they add Devontae Adams, they didn't get any worse than last year. Plus, I like Derek Carr. We'll see. I don't have it on fraud alert yet. Tough to lose Chargers, and the Cardinals come back. They got to get the defense figured out. Can't blow a lead like that.
No, not at all. This was the Sunday night game. This one I was kind of falling asleep during. The Chicago Bears heading to Green Bay and playing the Green Bay Packers. Packers win 27-10.
Yep, Packers rebound and the Bears come back down to earth. I guess after the Week 1 loss, the Packers vowed to get Aaron Jones the ball more. And did they do that? Oh, my God. He had 132 yards on the ground himself, along with a touchdown and a receiving touchdown. Packers beat the Bears for the 7th straight time. Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears. I have a stat in here. Packers are 24-5 against the Bears in games that Rodgers starts. Yeah. That's absurd.
Rodgers owns the Bears. He pretty much said it last year, I think it was. And, it got caught on camera of him saying, I own you to the fans. And I thought, honestly, Malik Willis just fumbled the ball.
No, of course he did. Rodgers I think he looked a lot more efficient and comfortable than they did versus Minnesota. 19 of 25, 234, 2 touchdowns. He got passing touchdown 451 late in the first half. Before that, he passed for his 450th career touchdown pass, and he joins Brady, Breeze, Manning, and Favre as the only QBs to ever reach that mark. So claps to Aaron Rodgers. Congrats. Truly one of the best quarterbacks ever, and that's good. Good for the Packers fans going forward. It looks like they figured some things out. Granted, it's hard to tell. The Bears suck. Yeah, the Packers should have won this game anyway.
Yeah, the Packers should have easily won this game. The score, shows that they should have easily won this game. Yeah.
Yep. So, well, that's all we got for NFL recap. Sorry for having
we have the Lions game.
Oh shit. Yep. Sorry, we still have the Lions game.
That's why I need to.
We're good. Go ahead, get us started.
So the Washington Commanders head to Detroit and play the Detroit Lions. Lions win 36-27. Lions looked good the first half. That defense looked amazing.
Yeah, the Commanders had no idea what to do offensively, it's funny because we said going into this that the Lions were like a JV defense, and they shut me up. Granted, Commanders, not the best team. The Lions were initially favored. Then by the time the game started, there was some reverse line movement, and it was pretty much a pick 'em. I think the Commanders were favored by half a point.
Yep.
The Lions, without 3 of their starting offensive linemen, didn't matter. They played very well. Goff looked great. How about Amon-Ra St. Brown? 9 receptions, 116 yards, 2 touchdowns. He ties an NFL record with 8+ receptions in 8 straight games, tying Michael Thomas and Antonio Brown. And then he sets an NFL record with 6 straight games with 8+ receptions and a touchdown. He's the truth.
Oh, yeah, I love St. Brown. I love that.
The sun god.
Yeah, he is going to probably be one of the best quarterbacks of all time. I'm saying
quarterbacks.
Wide receivers of all time.
Definitely
St.
one of the
Brown's
best.
Going to be one of the best receivers of all time. I'm saying that right here.
He's saying that, not me.
Another thing is Hutch had 3 sacks.
Yeah. Yep.
The first half.
Yeah, so it was good. It was good for him to come out. There were some questions about how he played Week 1. I thought he looked better than the stats showed against the Eagles. But he was all over the field.
It was like Pro Football Focus. He was ranked like 124th of 125 guys at his position.
Yeah,
you can't do that. That is horrible. But he definitely had a bounce back week. He played good. The defense played good.
And he was banged up. You saw him limping all over, and he stayed in the game.
This obviously they have to fix some of those second half adjustments for the defense and figure that side of the ball out in the second half, but defense looked great first half.
I also loved how even when the defense made some mistakes and they kind of let the Commanders creep back in, the offense responded. They said, don't worry, we got this. They went down and scored. Swift was questionable with an ankle injury. He still played great. That touchdown he caught when he fell down, got up, and still scored was like
insane.
There's only so many guys in the league that can make a play like that. Any concerns with Hockenson? I think he had 3 drops on the day.
I'm nervous about that. You can't be a top 10 pick.
Yeah,
and do stupid things like that. Catch the ball. We're paying you way too much money to be dropping balls like that.
Yeah, I think
catch
that
the goddamn ball.
It's a little concern going forward, especially if you're a Lions fan. We've had too many tight ends come in onto this team with drop issues. Shout out to Eric Ebron. Hockenson, I don't think it's been a problem in his career, so hopefully it was just a bad game. And I just hope that it doesn't scare Goff of going to him, because Hawkinson's a weapon, and he's one of those rare tight ends in the league that's really difficult to guard.
He's one of those that you can consider as like that dual
hybrid
threat. That's a hybrid one. Yeah, he's not that Gronk. He's not that Travis Kelce.
He's close.
He's definitely dynamic enough to where you have to think about him.
Yeah. And lastly from this game, I just want to shout out Dan Skipper. He's a longtime practice squad guy for the Lions. For those that watch Hard Knocks, he's the one that got pretty emotional when they cut him and said they were going to bring him back to practice squad. And he was just asking, like, what do I got to do? And he got to start at left guard, played his ass off. I heard that he's the largest starting left guard in NFL history at 6'9", 330. Typically, the bigger guys play tackle. That's what he's played his entire career. So shout out to him. Shout out to the guys that filled in on the offensive line, the true grinders for that Lions game. And Lions looking good, 1-1 to start the year. Who they got next, Case?
They go to Minnesota and play the Minnesota Vikings. I think Lion is opened up at Minnesota at 7-point favorites right now.
Yeah, which they should be. I mean, Minnesota's arguably the best team in that division.
Yeah, I agree with that statement right there. But, I mean, anything else about the Lions? I mean, I have nothing much to say. I mean, I hope they can go into Minnesota and at least make it a game. We have still have a lot to see about the Lions. I'm still going to expect them to win 7 games just because I have that bet over 6.5 wins.
Yeah, no, they could. This was a big one. They won a game that they were supposed to win. You know what I mean? That's huge. You couldn't say that about the Lions in recent years. You know, they lost games that they were supposed to win and won games they weren't. Right. We'll see going forward. But that's all I got for the NFL recap. Casey, anything to say?
That's all I have. Just I would say that's our show.
Yeah.
So just remember to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yep.
Definitely share us. Tell all your friends. We want feedback.
We'll talk a ball. We'll talk a ball.
Strip the fucking ball out of them. Fucking ball. That's all we do is talk football on this show. We talk other sports. I'm on mute that entire time.
I'm sure my mic picked all that up.
Ball. Dude, that fucking hurt.
That's what you get for trying to strip the king.
Okay, you need to relax. What was your record last week?
Okay.
We'll get to that on Thursday.
All right, we'll see you guys on Thursday. We'll love you guys. See ya.